Well, Happy New Year, everyone. It's the first live stream of 2024, so welcome. The way this works is pretty simple. My name is Ron Henry, and I'm here to help answer your lawn care questions. On your screen, you will see a chat box, and in that chat box, you can enter your question, your concern, your comment of the day, and I work through them in the order that they come in. Now, sometimes I have the answer, sometimes I do not, but either way, we have an awesome time talking about lawn care and sometimes other life topics. Again, Happy New Year, everyone. It's exciting times. 2024 is here. The season is going to be underway here anytime soon. Really looking forward to it. And I've gotten some cool pictures and emails from viewers. You know, there's new mowers coming out here soon, and people are getting new equipment. So I got some pictures of that to show you guys. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun-filled show. As always, we're coming to you guys live on YouTube is our primary platform, but we also are streaming on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you're on Instagram, so those of you guys that are out here hanging out, feel free to also be part of the show. Drop your question, concern, comment in there, and I will work you guys in as we go back and forth. And overall, have a great time. So have a great kickoff to 2024. All right, so our first topic, or our comment this evening is from Mr. Jackie Berry. Says, have an excellent stream. Thank you so much, Jackie. I really do appreciate it. Jackie is a regular of the live stream, always hanging around, always supporting the channel. So I appreciate all the love and support, sir. So thanks for coming to be part of the first stream of 2024. Hopefully many more to come. And we got Mr. Jason Harrison is in the house. Now, Jason is an overachiever on many fronts. I'm going to show you guys what I'm talking about here in a little bit. But he says, evening, friends. Time to get your yards ready for the upcoming season. Pre-emergent in just 1 month. Start getting your products now before the rush of spring sells them all out. That's great advice, Jason. I really do appreciate that. And it is true. You know, we are already into the first week of January. A few, 3 or 4 weeks from now, we're going to be into February. And depending on where you are in the country, you could start looking into doing your pre-emergent application. You guys know I am a fan of getting my pre-em out a bit earlier. because I've gotten great results with that, and it's what I also teach. And the folks that follow that tend to do fairly well as far as weed control, weed suppression in their lawns throughout the spring and summer months. Again, it varies, really depends on where in the country you are as far as timing, when and where you will get your pre-emergent out. Here's the thing. So part of some of the talking points I wanted to go over tonight were around just some things you can do as far as getting your lawn ready for the season, for like the March timeframe for most of you. All right. And one of them is one of the things that Jason is already working on now. So for those of us with warm season turf, Bermuda, zoysia, a common practice that we do is called scalping, right? So the thing with scalping is you're clearing out all that old debris. You are allowing more heat, more sunlight to reach the soil, and it does help the lawn to green up a bit faster by, in some cases, as much as 2 or 3 weeks versus lawns that are not scalped. Now, depending on the size of your lawn, doing all that in one go can be a bit of a pain, can be a bit of a chore. So folks will sometimes break it up. One of the things I call it, or I like to do, is what's called almost like a pre-scalp. So you don't really do the large, big scale work that you would do for like late February. But if as you get closer to the end of this month, if you want to start taking some material out to save yourself really a lot of headache, and this is really for people that have larger properties, because if you have a smaller lawn, it's really not that big of a deal. If you have a larger lawn, the amount of material that can come out from removing, say, an inch of material, you'd be surprised at how many like lawn refuse bags you can fill up by doing that. So Jason, being the overachiever that he is already getting started. Where he is in the country, I mean, they green up a bit sooner. So he wanted to send me some pictures of some work that he's doing as far as just taking off a little bit, taking off just a taste, getting the lawn ready, do a nice little cleanup cut. And let me see if I can show you guys that. So this is picture 1 that he sent me this afternoon. I think it was today he sent these out. So you can see he did a diagonal mow, and then he followed it up by another mow afterwards. So going away from the house, I'm always a big fan of that one, that pattern, by the way, Jason, because when you walk out on the porch, you can see your stripe action. Granted, yours is dormant, but you get what I'm saying. And then finally, he shows like what came out of that. So just from a mower, it wasn't a drastic height of cut change. You can see he got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I haven't counted them, probably 3 or 4 deep. So somewhere between 18 and 24 refuse bags of material. And this, I'm sure he's not done with all the scalp work. He's going to be doing that likely in February, March timeframe to do the real job. But it just shows you, like, if you have to do all that in one go, it's rough. It's a lot of work. You know what I mean? That's quite a bit of work. And the thing also too is that if you're planning on doing like you're getting your mower serviced, it's a good idea to do a lot of this kind of work before you send it out to go do that. Because the last thing you want to do is spend all the money and time sending your mower out to get the edge, the reel sharpened up, only to go and beat it up by scalping the lawn. So I get where Jason is going with that. So that's one of the things I was talking about as far as something to consider doing. Again, right now it's probably a bit early, but if you wanted to wait until, again, first part of February or so to start doing your initial scalp, depending on where you are in the country. If you're in the Southeast where our winters are relatively mild and you want to get a head start, that's something you can consider doing. And I like to do that prior to the next talking point, which is around pre-emergent, right? So if I I do this every single year, and come March, April timeframe, I'm getting inundated with questions on how do I get rid of this weed, that weed that's growing in my lawn, when it really could have been avoided by pre-emergent. So some of you are going to listen to me, some of you aren't. For those of you that are going to listen to me, get your pre-emergent out prior to conditions that lend themselves well to weeds beginning to grow in your lawn. So before the average soil temp, the average 5-day soil temperature in your area reaches the mid 50s, that would be a good time to get your pre-emergent out. Here in Northeast Georgia, what I aim for is the early February timeframe. I tend to do 1 pre-emergent application in the springtime. Some people like to do split apps. I do 1 app in the springtime at the higher rate for prodiamine, and that carries me well through spring and summer months. And that coupled with regular mowing puts my lawn in a pretty good place where I'm not fighting a lot of weeds throughout the entire lawn. So just something to consider. get your pre-emergent out. It's a really important aspect. And you think about the price of pre-emergent, right? If you have, I think I've got one here. Yeah, if you look at like one of these, right? It's a little 5-ounce bottle of pre-emergent. These are like $30. They're not that expensive. And for a Bermuda lawn, this will cover 6,000 square feet. And for cool season turf types, depending on the rate you go with, it's around 9,000 square feet, right? So $30 for relatively good prevention as far as keeping weeds out of your lawn, right? Now, if you start having to get into post-emergent herbicides, so you didn't do any kind of pre-emergent, you have to do several rounds of post-emergent herbicides to try and get rid of the weeds that are going to show up in your lawn if you don't use pre-emergent. Then you start getting into products like Celsius, like Certainty, if you have warm season turf, like Tenacity or Triad or Sedgehammer if you have cool season turf. And those are several orders of magnitude more expensive than pre-emergent. I'm not saying that you still won't need those. I mean, you can still use them for spot spraying, for a little break that you have here and there. But for the most part, you're not going to be relying heavily on post-emergent herbicides if you have a good pre-emergent strategy. So spring and fall, twice a year, it's really all it takes to do a lot of the heavy lifting for keeping your lawn weed free. Something to look into as far as your plans for 2024. If you want some guidance on that, I happen to have written what I think is a pretty good blog post on the topic of pre-emergent. Talks about what pre-emergent herbicides are and when you should apply them. So it's one of our more recent ones, and if you are interested in finding out more about that, I will post that in the chat for your reading pleasure right now. So pre-emergence. Another thing that I like to do as well, so we covered scalping around the time we were doing that. We covered pre-emergent. It's a good idea as well, guys, to start considering, if you've not done it before, introducing a granular biostimulant to your lawn care program. So why is that important? Why go out and add, frankly, another thing to your process? Well, what I'll tell you is that by using a granular biostimulant, particularly ones that contain biochar, it allows you to get more out of the fertilizer applications that you're going to be making throughout the season. So one of the reasons why I'm able to get by with feeding or fertilizing my lawn less than what most people do, like most people on a Bermuda lawn will say, a pound of nitrogen throughout the growing season whenever it's actively growing. I tend to stay between around 7/10 of a pound, so about 30% less than what most people put in their lawns. And I attribute a lot of that to the biostimulant program that I do. I focus a lot on creating really healthy soil, and then great turf is a byproduct of that. So my biostimulant of choice, the granular biostimulant of choice that I like to use, is a product called Essential G. You guys have, if you've been watching the channel for any period of time, you've heard about it. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. If you go to shop and then Green Biostimulants, you will see it here. It is front and center because it is that good, and it's a staple of what I do in my lawn care program. I apply this once per month. You cannot burn your lawn with it, really. And depending on the rate that you use, a bag can cover 4,000 feet or up to, let me see, if you do 10 pounds per thousand, you can get more, but the rate that I like to apply it covers around 4,000 feet per bag is what I would say. That's a good rate for you to get the most out of the product. So consider doing this. Consider a granular biostimulant. It's an important part of creating healthy soil. But in addition to the biochar, you're putting compost, humate, reclaimed coffee grounds, some silicon. You're putting like a nutrient package into the soil. It's a great way to increase organic material, and it's something that I do every month because where I live in the country, the ground doesn't really freeze, so I can get away with applying Essential G literally every month out of the year. I've been doing that since the summer of 2020, so coming up a little past 3 years now. Right? It's great stuff. And then that's going to set you up for the thing that we really enjoy, the thing that you guys probably get the most enjoyment out of when it comes to your lawn care program, outside of mowing, of course, which is applying fertilizer. So by scalping, getting your pre-emergent down, you're setting up yourself for, you're putting a lot of good place to where when you start introducing fertilizer, your lawn is just going to take off and really do well. And then later on in the season, that's when your aeration, top dressing, all that kind of stuff comes in. But as far as the things to focus on for the first part of the year, if you have warm season grassing, and I wouldn't do this if you have cool season turf, but if you have warm season turf, consider scalping. It is a lot of work, but it's something to consider doing because it will help you get ahead of the game as far as how quickly your lawn greens up compared to your neighbors. Absolutely get your pre-emergent out. It's again, compared to the price of having to do broad scale weed control in your lawn, pre-emergent is worth its weight in gold many times over. And then consider granular biostimulants. From there, you'll be good to go to then do your fertilizer, your growth regulator, your liquids, all the kind of stuff that you tend to do when the turf is actively growing. What I'm talking about now are things you can do now. Now, something I want to share with you guys as well, for anyone that's also new to the channel and the content, we also have a lawn care schedule that is free to use. We have a more detailed one in the Golf Course Lawn Academy, which I need to update and get out to you guys. I know I'm going to work on that. That's one of my things to do this weekend. Is this, right? So we have a yearly lawn care schedule, a 365-day timeline, covers spring, summer, winter, fall, and winter. And then the area that most people spend their time looking at is item 5 here in the menu, which is the month-by-month breakdown. As far as starting in March, doing your scalping, doing your soil test, pre-emergent applications, your fertilizer, and it gives you a high level calendar of input you can do to your lawn that are gonna put you in a really good position. So it covers from March all the way through October. You'll see a big part of that once you start getting into the April timeframe is consistent mowing. So all this stuff is great, but none of it really matters, or the lawn's not gonna look its best if you're not consistently mowing it. So something for you guys to consider as well. I'll link this in the chat for you guys and gals that are looking for free resources, and I will get that out now. And now, with my monologue out of the way, we can transition to the questions, which I'm sure there are some really good ones. So let's see what we got here. All right, we got Quabs saying Happy New Year. What's going on, Quabs? Appreciate that. Thanks for coming to hang out in the live stream, and hope all is going well for you. We have the Lawn Morden here on Instagram saying, I've been using a coffee maker, loads of coffee grounds will be on my lawn. Sounds like a plan. Go for it, right? Use what you got. And then the Lawn Morden says, not sure if we can get this in the UK. No, not really. One, the cost of shipping this stuff over there would be cost prohibitive. And then also just customs, getting it in, as far as the products being labeled for use in the UK. It's not so much like a lot of the biostimulant products, a lot of the Miramichi Green products, I don't think those would be a huge issue, but it's just, again, it's the cost of shipping. It would be several times what you're paying for it, and it's honestly just not worth the headache. You can likely find similar, or I would hope you could find similar products within the United Kingdom. We got Offered NV saying Happy New Year, sir. Hopefully you are doing well. All right, so back to YouTube. Andrew Phillips is in the house. He says, hey Ron and all. Happy New Year. Was in a little hiatus playing catch up. Let's get winter turf talk going. Man, listen, winter turf talk, we're already looking forward to the spring. We're already looking forward to, getting winter behind us and get the spring going here soon, right? So yeah, I mean, if you are interested in topics particular to winter, we have some blog posts on that, blog posts and knowledge-based articles on winter lawn care. So if you're really, that's really your vintage this time of year, Andrew, if you really want to look into that. Actually, I might be able to find something for you really quick here. Let me see what I has for you. Yeah, so there is, let me look here. I'm gonna give you two of them, because I know there's a guide and there's also a blog post. Yeah, okay. So if you want to read more about winter lawn care, Andrew, so on our knowledge base, there's a winter lawn care guide and tips. I'm going to, I'll send that to you here, send this one to you. And then also there's a blog post really in the winter. It's the thing that I focus on is a fungicide application prior to winter to keep diseases out of your lawn. And that's what the blog post covers. So I'll link both those in the chat for you, Andrew, in case you want something to discuss. But most of the heavy lifting when it comes to keeping or preventing problems in the winter happens in the late fall. So if you've been following the content for any period of time, you know that I do a fungicide app in the October timeframe and then again in November. And that is to set myself up to where I'm reducing the chance of there being issues with the diseases that can happen, that can develop in the winter months. And then more importantly, with me having warm season turf, I'm trying to keep spring dead spot away. That's the thing that I am most afraid of, because once you have it, once it shows up in your lawn, you're really just a big waiting game. If you see it in the spring, there's not a whole lot you can do other than wait it out. So you'll have, you got both those now. I got them linked and you are good to go. So I appreciate you. I appreciate the questions and I appreciate you coming back, man. Appreciate you coming back. It's good. It's good to see that already this early in the season, a lot of folks that have kind of taken a break during the fall months are starting to come back and trickle in, realizing they have lawns and that kind of thing. Next up, we have a question here or a comment from the UK. It says, we have weed all and such. Gotcha. And then Trajan 1979 says, my husband has a great lawn thanks to your videos. I really do appreciate that, Trajan. I thank you for the kind words. I mean, granted, he watched the videos, but more importantly, he did the work, right? It's one thing to watch the content. Here's the thing I can promise you. If all you do, and this is not my best interest, but I'll tell you this anyway. If all you do is watch my content, that in itself, while close, is not enough to get an amazing lawn. You actually have to watch it and then go do the stuff that I show in the videos, and then a great lawn with consistency is pretty much a byproduct. It's pretty much a given. It's really hard to not get a great looking lawn if you do those things. So, but I'm glad to hear that so it's your husband's lawns. You said, normally they'll say, we have a great lawn thanks to your videos. You're saying my husband has a great lawn. So so every other part of the house is yours, but the lawn that is clearly his. That's his thing, right? Okay, I got you. I hear you. Good stuff. But at any rate, I'm glad that the lawn is looking its best. Hopefully you are the envy of your street with all the work your husband is putting in on the lawn. All right. Next up, we have Stephen Johnson. He says, what's going on, Ron? I heard the news about the Revolution 26 delayed a bit for an even better mower. Yeah, so I did hear about that. Yeah, so a couple of viewers sent that to me, sent me an email that they got from the folks at Real Roller saying that there's a little bit of a delay for several reasons. One, there's been some additions that they've been putting on the mower, like some things that have been doing to make it even that much better. If you guys are Real Rollers customers, or if you're in their Facebook group, I'm sure you know about it. There's also other delays, I think, as far as shipping and that kind of thing. But I think in the end, you're going to get the mower before you really need it, and you're getting like the best piece of equipment that Lee and the team at Real Rollers know how to manufacture, right? So I think that they I read the email because one of the viewers sent it to me. And I think it's a good call personally, right? Like the last thing you would want is to get, a version now, and then a version with more improvements with all this new stuff that you guys are all going to get come out, months from now. That would be more irritating than just waiting a little bit longer and getting the mower. So that's I think that's a good deal. And think about it. Many of you guys, again, you got it for a discount if you did the pre-order. So you're getting a mower, you're getting the improved version for a price that people that are buying it now are going to be paying more for. So overall, I would be patient if it were me. I really wouldn't sweat it too much. All right, next up is Mr. Higgy Pop. Higgy Pop's in the house. He says, happy Friday. Have a great show. Happy 2024. Hit the like button for Ron. I do appreciate that, Higgy Pop. We got 83 people in here so far. I know it's only 20 minutes in, but surely we can do better than 40 likes. Let's get those likes up, man. Get those likes up, and while you guys do that, you know what? I'll even put some intermission music on, some LG music while I look for the first super chat here, and get that posted because I don't want to miss out on the super chat from Mr. Archie Amos. While you guys are hitting that like button, Archie drops a super chat, the first super chat of 2024.
Super chat received.
We're gonna hit it again. Thank you so much, Archie. Appreciate the all the love.
Super chat.
And for nothing, just saying, hey, I'm Archie, and it's 2024, and we appreciate all the love and support, sir. So I'm gonna get you up here, and you can say that you are the first. You are the first. You're the first of the year. There we go, Mr. Archie Amos, first of 2024. Appreciate all the love and support. Your name in lights for whatever that means to you. Whatever that means to you. Hopefully, Archie, you're in the warmer. I'm not sure which part of the country you're in. I know you kind of move around. I'm not sure if you're still in the cold part or in the warm part yet, but hopefully you'll be transitioning back to the warm part here soon, because it'll be time to get back to the warm areas. All right, again, thank you for the love and support. I do appreciate it. Ravi Patel is up next. He says, hey, Ron, Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Ravi. Thanks for coming to hang out in the live show. I appreciate you. And then we have Mr. Brad Larson. He says, hey, Ron, Happy New Year. I have POA popping up in my dormant Bermuda. I have Roundup, Certainty, and Prodiamine 65 WG on hand. Should I use the Roundup or the Certainty? Will Prodiamine prevent more? It's a great question, Brad. So Brad has POA in his lawn, and he's wondering, between Roundup, Certainty, and Prodiamine, what should he use? So if you've not applied any pre-emergent at all, Brad, so say in the fall you missed your pre-emergent application, you can still apply pre-emergent now. You're not going to get the benefits that you would have gotten had you done it several months ago. So, but it's still better than nothing, right? I still say, with it being the first week of January, you want to get some pre-emergent out. That's going to be okay. I would still do that. As far as between Certainty or Roundup for controlling the poanua, I would lean on Certainty. Reason being is that if it's just not worth the risk, in my opinion. Like if you spray Roundup on completely dormant Bermuda, so you're absolutely certain it's completely dormant all the way down to the crown, then yes, you can get away with doing that. But I've seen it personally where Roundup was sprayed on Bermuda that was dormant, only to find out in the springtime that it wasn't dormant enough, and they have like dead spots all throughout their lawn. So I just wouldn't risk it. If you've got Certainty, use Certainty. Apply or spray some surfactant along with it, like mix Certainty and surfactant. Like these two are a must to get to use together, and that's going to do a good job cleaning up the POA. The thing to keep in mind when it comes to Certainty and poanua is you have to spray it at the higher rates, okay? So in the video that I made on using Celsius and Certainty together, that video was made in the summer, and I was showing using Certainty pretty much for sedge control, for Kalinga and sedge control. The rate that you have to use for Certainty for controlling poanua is quite a bit higher. You need to be on the low end at 1.25 ounces per acre, all the way up to 2 ounces per acre. So what that really equates to is the measuring spoon that Certainty comes with. There's a small end and there's a large end. And one of the large scoops, one of these guys of the big end, grab it here. So there you go. You got small end, big end. The big end, one of these equates to 1.25 ounces per acre, right? So in this case, one of these will cover, you'll be applying the 1.25 ounce per acre rate over 1,000 square feet. What I've gotten better results with is I've tested just using one of these, and it works okay. It gives the POA a pretty good ouchie, but if you really want to burn it down, use one large scoop, get this focus, use one large scoop, and then one or two of the small scoops. That over 1,000 square feet is going to do a really good job controlling POA. And in your case, it sounds like you're just going to be spot spraying, but I like that slightly higher rate versus the base rate of just 1.25 ounces per 1,000 square feet. Not saying that can't work, but it's I've found better results by getting up away from that just a little bit. As far as for POA control. So to answer your question, if you've not sprayed any pre-emergent at all, yes, I would still get your prodiamine out. It's not going to work as well as if you had done it months ago prior to the poanua germinating. So it's going to help some, but it's still not going to be as good. And Roundup, I would put that away. I would not spray anything really in your lawn with Roundup. If you have mulch beds, sure. If you got stuff growing in the sideways or in the sidewalks or driveways, by all means go for it. But I would not spray Roundup. And by Roundup, I think you're referring to the glyphosate product. I would not spray that on turf grass. I just wouldn't risk it. It's just not worth it when you have an excellent selective herbicide that isn't going to injure your lawn, especially with it being dormant now. The chance of you having any kind of injury from Certainty is practically zero. So Certainty, absolutely yes. Prodiamine, if you want to, sure. Roundup, I would not use that on your lawn. I would mulch beds, sidewalks, driveways. So sorry you're dealing with that. POA stinks. What I would tell you, and again, it's not going to really help you now, is next year, save up, and if you can find like a friend, cousin, someone that you actually like, and you want to split a bottle, get yourself a bottle of Spectacle Flow. This stuff is the bee's knees for keeping poanua out of your warm season lawn. You can apply this really just once in the fall, and you're going to be good until springtime. It lasts a really long time. 6 months plus is what you can expect to get out of a bottle of, as far as the residual out of Spectacle Flow. And as from my testing, I've done just prodiamine by itself. I've done like the poor man's version of this, which is prodiamine, simazine, and imazaquin, which works well. It gets somewhat close to what Spectacle does, but doesn't last as long. And then I've also used Spectacle Flow, and it's by far like just this one is the one to use if your budget will allow for it. Prodiamine works okay. It's better than not doing anything, but it's not I find the control that it does by itself for as a fall pre-emergent is not good enough for what most people are expecting. You know what I mean? So if it were me, I would for 2024 in the fall just start budgeting to get yourself a bottle of Spectacle Flow. Like this is the stuff you should be using in the fall if you have warm season turf. And then POA is really not going to be a thing in your lawn. It's just gonna, as long as you spray it properly, water it in, you're not going to have a lot of POA, if any, in your lawn. So hope that helps, sir. Again, sorry you're dealing with it. And if you have any other questions, let me know. Let me know. All right. Next, we have Rob Short. Not Rob Tall, but Rob Short. He says, "Hey, Ron, have you heard about the California trimmer putting out a reel mower with interchangeable inserts? I know you hate California trimmer, LOL." First of all, let's just clarify this. I do not hate any reel mower. There are some that I prefer more than others, but I don't hate California trimmers. I'm not a fan of the propulsion system, but that's just me. And again, what I said is I don't prefer that. It doesn't mean that I'm right on it. There's people that have California trimmers and love them. They get great results with them. People that have McLean's and they love them and they get great results with them. There's people that have True Cuts and love them and get great results with them. So really, whatever you like, whatever you get service in your area, whatever fits your budget, get it, keep it sharp, and you're going to get a great, you can get a great stand of turf if you use it regularly. So that's the big thing. So let's just put that to bed. Ron Henry does not hate any reel mower. I have my preferences, but I don't hate any reel mower. I have heard about the new one with the interchangeable cartridges. I've not seen it. I've heard it exists, but I've not seen it. I certainly haven't seen one in real life, in person. I'm not sure if they actually exist in person as yet, but I've heard that they're doing one. There's other manufacturers that are also putting out new mowers as well too, which is it's good. It's good for the consumer, right? You guys have more options for any of you guys that are getting new into reel mowing, or if you have an old mower and you're going to replace it, you got tons of options now as far as reel mowers, which is pretty awesome. So I think that's part of what also had reel rollers wait a bit on the Revolution 26, or some things they wanted to change that were going to make, I think, servicing the mower a bit easier. So I think they made the right call as far as that goes. So yeah. I've heard about the mower, have not seen it, certainly haven't mowed with one, and I imagine that once they come out, every one of their grandmothers is going to be creating content on them, and we'll see. I'm sure it's going to be a great unit. All right, next up we got Archie Amos. He is up next. He says, "Got an email from Reel Rollers, exciting, especially about the removable cartridges and so many other interesting features. Can't wait for that first mow." Nice, cool, Archie. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I did get the email because I'm not a Revolution customer. I didn't buy one, so they didn't send it to me. But that's good that they sent you guys, anyone that bought one already, the an update as far as where things are and some of the new features. And it's gonna be, I think you guys are gonna like it. The mower that you guys will get will be the one that Lee and the team at Reel Rollers wanted to produce, and I think they're making the right call by making sure that everybody gets their absolute best. Okay, next up is No Name. He says, "Happy Friday, Ron and fellow lawn enthusiasts. Looking forward to some great turf talk. Let's hit that like button." I appreciate that, No Name. I'm gonna do my best. Thanks for coming to hang out with me a little bit. Happy New Year. And next up we got Colin in the house. CPM. He says, "What's up, Ron? Hopefully your new year is off to a good start. Looking forward to the start of the season here soon." Yeah, man. So here's the thing, guys. On the topic of new equipment, I've been holding back on this because I wanted to see if he's actually going to be in the live stream. On the topic of new equipment, Mr. Colin, Mr. C. Pims, got some new equipment. So I'm going to show you guys. He sent me some pictures of it. I told him, "Hey, man, do you mind if I show these off?" He says, "Of course." He says, "Of course, show my baby off. Let everyone see my new hotness." And here we go. He got himself a new McLean. Look at that. And he has made me aware that he's got a grooved roller en route from Reel Rollers for it. So he's already going to be upgrading it. Nice, very nice. I like it. And then a wide shot here. Got the grass catcher on there, looking good. Very cool. And I got to tell you, Colin, like one of the best things you did, like going with a roller, whether it be grooved or smooth, was a great call. Like I do not know why manufacturers still make and ship reel mowers without a front roller. I really don't understand it. I mean, just if anything, you can include the caster wheels as like just throw them in the box as well. But like every mower really should come with a grooved roller. Thankfully, the folks at Reel Rollers got you covered. You can pick one up from them. But I mean, I don't understand why people are still making mowers these days and not including a roller of some sort, because it really makes a big difference in how it cuts. you know? So again, congrats, sir. We got to clap it up for you. Got to give you some dap for that. Congrats. I like it. Like the new mower. Well done. Mow it mow it with good health. Take care of it. Keep it sharp. And can't wait to see how the lawn in the back looks once you turn that beast loose on it. It's going to be a whole different level of just precision. I mean, you're going to see you like what you're getting out of that push or out of the mowers you were using before. This is going to be like a big step up over what you were doing. So really cool stuff. Congrats again. Robert Marks is in the house. He says, Happy New Year, Ron. I finally pulled the trigger on the Revolution 26. I got an email stating it was ready for pickup the very next day. I need to call to verify. I live in Kennesaw. Okay, Robert, that's interesting. So I'm not sure what's happening because I'm not sure if they're actually, I don't believe they're here yet. I don't think they're here yet. So I'm not sure what, I don't know. I know the final one I don't believe is here as yet. So you know better than me. You know better than me. Next up is Terrence Ponchak saying, thanks for taking the time, Ron. Happy New Year. I appreciate that, Terrence. Yeah, no worries at all. You know, I enjoy this stuff, man. I wouldn't take every Friday evening to come hang out and talk about turf grass and whatever else you guys want to chat about if I didn't enjoy it. So I really do appreciate you guys supporting the channel, taking the time out of your busy schedule to come here and hang out with me a little bit. You know, last week was a lot of fun. You know, the giveaway, a lot of people had fun with it. You know, LG, I mean, he's going to live that one down. He's going to be in pain. From what I understand from him, from what I saw in the comments, he's at dinner. Like he went to dinner, out for dinner. And of course, he went out for dinner on giveaway night. So he missed out. Mark Romano is up here. He says 75% forgot to give the like button a beat down. Isn't that true? We got over 100 folks in here, guys, and only 66 likes. Surely we can do better than that. Come on, guys. If you guys are enjoying the content, it's a free way to support the channel. You hitting the like button or the dislike button, your choice. Hitting that button gives a good engagement signals, tells YouTube to send more folks over here to watch the content, and I really would appreciate it. It's a free way to support the channel. So if the 100 and so of you are in here and you haven't hit the like button yet, then by all means, hit that like button. Gently, hard, however you want to do it, but hit that like button. It's absolutely free, and it's a great way to support the content and the channel. All right. Next up, we have Michael Fetty. He says, hey, Ron, I applied Tenacity when I overseeded turf-type tall fescue in Virginia. Should I do Tenacity again soon or something different? What are you trying to accomplish, Michael? I mean, if you are trying to control, if you have weeds in your lawn and you're trying to control them and Tenacity is labeled to do that, then sure, you can use Tenacity. Another option is to use a broadleaf, like a three-way, like Triad. That will work as well too. So it just really depends on what you're trying to control. Tenacity will work well. Triad will work well. Just make sure you read the label. If you're using either one of them, I would highly recommend that you use surfactant along with them for best results. But yeah, I mean, if you got weeds in your lawn and the weeds that are there are ones that those products are labeled to control, then go for it. I'll send you links in the chat here for the Triad product if you don't know what I'm talking about. So you'll have another option in addition to Tenacity. So what I'm referring to here, Michael, if you go to shop and then weed killer, and I think it's on the second page, is this. This is a broadleaf product. It's a three-way called Triad. So this is good for warm and cool season turf. Controls a pretty broad range of weeds. So feel free to give this a go as well. You can see some of the ones, the dandelions, poison oak, wild carrot. I mean, it's a whole bunch of stuff. So take a look at this. If this list of weeds are what you got in your lawn, then consider giving it a shot. And because I like you, Michael, normally I don't do this for everybody. Because I like you, I'm gonna give you a link to where you can pick that up as well. And if you have any other questions, let me know. Use surfactant with it for best results. And yeah. All right, next up is Henry Jones Photography. He says, hey, Ron. What's up, Henry Jones Photography? Happy New Year. Devin is up next. He says, what's up, Ron? Is it lawn season yet? It's getting there. He says, I just ordered some bags of carbonized PN for my top dressing in the spring. Doing a 60-40 mix with USGA sand. Going to be awesome. Nice, Devin. I like it. So 60% sand, 40% carbonized PN. It's a great choice. Match made in heaven. I think the nice thing about doing that is you're not going to have a lot of trash. Like USGA sand is been screened several times over. There's not going to be a bunch of debris from that. And then carbonized PN is also without debris. I mean, I've used tons and tons and tons of it. I have yet to find anything other than carbonized PN in the bag. So I think you're really going to like that. It's going to be a bit of work to mix it, but you're going to like the results you get from top dressing with that blend. I still tell you, like, as far as like the depth of color that I've gotten out of the front lawn when I have done a top dressing with just carbonized PN, so I went heavy with just carbonized PN, like the green, the pop of the lawn was just like 10 days afterwards was absolutely incredible. Actually, I mean, the picture doesn't really do it justice, but I'll show you what I'm talking about here. If you go to shop and then Miramichi Green and carbonized PN, I think I've got some of the pictures in here. This is from, you see, I wasn't messing around. Like all that went over 1,600 square feet, thereabout, on the front lawn. And then that's me doing it. And this is, I got the picture here. So this is it. This is the lawn after top dressing with carbonized PN. And then this is it like 10 days later. And again, the picture, I wish I'd taken a better angle, but you can see like the color. The color is just so lush and deep and green. It's just, it's awesome. Awesome product. So yeah, I mean, I did the same thing this year, or not this year, last year in the spring as well too. So I say all this to say that I think you're going to be very happy with the results that you get out of carbonized PN and your USGA SAN blend, Devin. So yeah, you got to keep us posted, man. And here's the thing: you got to realize, I mean, not to start anything, but you better realize that that Robert's coming for you, man. Whenever we do another competition here, Robert is not messing around. So I fully expect you to show him the business, be able to restore order and let him know, hey, this is how we do it. This is how the pros do it. So yeah, it'll be good fun. Definitely keep us posted as far as when the time comes. I know it's several months out for you being in Colorado, but when you decide to go that route, take pictures, keep us posted as far as how it all goes, because the crowd is expecting a lot, and I know you're not going to disappoint. All right. Very cool stuff, sir. Glad to see you're doing well and staying warm, hopefully, in Colorado Spring. Let's see what we got here on the gram. We got Robert Rainey saying, how's it going? Going well, Robert. Hopefully you're doing okay. We got Austin Mayfield. What's going on, Austin, man? So, guys, Austin is the guy that helped me out as far as, if you saw the video about sprinkler head replacements from several years ago, Austin was the guy that actually did that. He came out and allowed me to film it and answered tons of questions and everything. So it was a really good time. So glad to see you're doing well, sir. Austin, he says selective herbicide, and Robert Rainey here as well. But yeah, I'm not sure what your comment was for Austin, but yeah, selective herbicides, I'm a big fan of them, like pre-emergent and selective herbicides. I'm not a fan of non-selectives on grass that you care about. Renovation project, okay, but outside of that, keep non-selective herbicides off of turf that you want to keep looking good. It's not worth it, in my opinion. It's not worth chancing it. All right, next up we have Henry Jones Photography. Has a question. He says, Ron, I did a split application of Dimension and got busy and missed my second. Should I just wait until March or drop more, or will I be okay doing my other split now? It's up to you, Henry. I'm not sure how much you missed the second application by. I'm guessing you did this for your fall pre-emergent. If you do that, you're going to want to switch to something else for your spring pre-emergent. So say you were to go out tomorrow and spray your second split application of Dimension. For your spring pre-emergent, say in March timeframe, you're going to want to go with, like, say, prodiamine, because it sounds like you did an application in the fall and did another one probably now, or we'll do another one now. So I'm not sure what rates you're using, but if you're anywhere near what the annual limit is, you're going to want to switch to a different pre-emergent for your spring option, right? So prodiamine's a good choice. It's comparable. Dimension is actually a bit more expensive than prodiamine is, so you can get that, and then you could just switch to that for your spring pre-emergent, and then you should be good for weed prevention for both the spring and summer months. So yeah, hope that helps, sir. Great question. And it's not ideal. You're not gonna get the benefits as much as if you had done it when you were supposed to, but it's still better than nothing. You know what I mean? It's still better than nothing. Like just saying, I'm not gonna apply anything and just let the weeds have free reign. I don't like that. That strategy either. I think that's gonna be it's more pain where some of it can be avoided by getting some pre-emergent out. So good stuff, sir. Mason RC is up next. Mason RC, he says, good evening. Let me see here. He says, good evening, everyone. Looking forward to another great year on the lawn. I'm curious, what is one thing you plan on trying this year to improve your lawn, or one thing you will try to improve? So something I'm playing with, Mason, and again, it's not that big of a change. So instead of cutting the lawn at 3/4 of an inch this season, I'm toying with the idea of cutting it at 5/8. It's not a huge difference. You talk 0.62 versus, or 0.625 versus 0.75, so it's not a huge difference. I'm considering like taking the height cut down just a touch, just to see. I mean, it's against my better judgment. I mean, I think 0.75 is like the master height of cut for, in my opinion, it's like the best of both worlds. But you know me, can't ever leave well enough alone. So I'm going to be doing that. What else would I try and improve this year? Trying to think, like, as far as my fertilization program, I really like how that is working. The nutrient program is working. If something that I'm working on comes to fruition, you guys will learn about that, and that will be an adjustment. But for the most part, like what you see me doing in like last year is largely what you're going to be seeing me doing this year. I'm going to be turf raking the lawn regularly, verticutting it once a month, starting like in the May time frame, and just continuing to mow it. The big thing is just mowing it, right? Feed it, mow it, feed it, mow it, and feed it and mow it, and it's gonna look good, right? So yeah, I'm trying to think of what else would be to improve. Like my watering, I think is on point. That works well. There's not a whole lot that compared from last year to this year that I'm really going to change outside of this. So that's good. No, that's a good question. So I am going to play with the height to cut a little bit shorter this season. And then I'm also going to top dress the lawn this year. So last year I did not get top dressed, at least the back lawn didn't get top dressed. So this year the entire thing will get top dressed. So that's something that is going to happen. It's due for it. So it's not really a thing I'm improving. It's more of a it's time to do that kind of thing. You know what I mean? So sorry I don't have a better answer for you, but yeah, like what I'm doing right now, I really like. I mean, I do quite a bit already as it is, and I like the program and the results that I'm getting from it. But if you got any ideas, feel free to throw them my way. I'm always all there. If you got anything else you think I should be trying out, let me know. All right, Trilla is up next. The Trilla in Manila. He says, "Happy Friday, Ron and Strap Action Gang." What's going on, Trilla? And then CPIM says, "If I'm wanting to power rake at the start of the season, would you suggest applying pre-emergent after power raking?" Yes, I would not do it. I would apply the pre-emergent prior to you power raking and prior to you doing a scalp, if you're going to be doing that. So if you're going to be scalping the lawn, do your pre-emergent afterwards. And if you're going to be power raking your lawn, then do your pre-emergent after that. Again, this assumes that you're doing the scalping and the and potentially the turf raking, at least the initial one, prior to conditions being in the soil, like soil temperatures being where they need to be for weeds to begin germinating. So if you're telling me that you're going to start turf raking or you're not going to start scalping until like April, then no, I would not do that. I would get your pre-emergent down before. But if you're planning to do those things prior to soil temps reaching the mid 50s, then yeah, then by all means. I mean, you know, getting rid of like thinning out the lawn a little bit is going to help the pre-emergent get into the soil and just work a bit better. So it makes sense to do that after those cultural practices. So thanks for the question, CPIMs. I really do appreciate it. I like where you are. Look at you, man. You're not messing around. Look at you. You got your real mower. You're talking about turf raking and all this kind of stuff. You're not messing around. You are not messing around. What are you going to use to power rake? Do you have like one of those Sunjo units, or are you going with something else? Kind of interested in what your plan is for that. Okay, next up is Leo Garcia. He says, "Hey Ron, enjoying it as always. Austin, Texas in the house." What's going on, Austin, Texas? What's going on, Leo? Thanks for taking some time out of your Friday to come and say hello. Andrew saying, "Yep, cool. I'll read those." Yeah, man. Yeah, there's ton. Here's the thing. I actually put quite a bit of time into the content that goes on the Golf Course Lawn Store. So let me see. This week, in the last couple of weeks, we had some pieces that we wanted to get done before the end of the year. So those are all finished now. So this year, to close out the season, Marquise ended up having an article being written about mold control, but then also the last one for the end of the year was around lawn biostimulants. Talks all about if you're looking for a more environmentally conscious way of taking care of your lawn, kind of like what I promote. Then it talks about all the different options for doing that, like the benefits of them, and then shows products from Miramichi Green, which is what I recommend and what I use on my lawn. And then in addition to that, I've been getting questions from folks saying, "Hey, what I have this weed in my lawn, and what should I spray to get rid of it?" And the question now I'm getting is, I ask them is, "What kind of grass do you have?" And they're like, "Well, I'm not sure." So I said, "You know what? I don't have an actual piece of content. I have a couple pieces of content on like different types of seeds and growing grass from seed, but I don't have one on what type of grass is in my lawn." So there you go. So now you can talk about cool season grass, warm season grass, which ones are in that category, find fescue blends, how to recognize them, where it makes sense to grow those types of grasses, the difference between bunching grasses and ones that spread via rhizomes and stolons. So I mean, if you want to geek out on grass and different grass types, feel free to check that out. That was, I'm released yet. No, today's Friday. It was released yesterday. Yesterday that went live. It all runs together. So yesterday that went live. So yeah, if you're interested in that, there's a new blog post on the Golf Course Lawn Store, free of charge. That'll help give you some insight into not only what kind of grass you have, but also what kind of grasses make sense depending on where you are in the country. Next up is Mark Romano. He says, "Does Archie know yet? LOL." I don't know. Does Archie know what? I don't know. I'm not sure. He probably does, Mark, I think. Robert Wallace, world's biggest Bulldogs fan. How you like with Georgia and FSU, man? That game. He says, "Hey, Ron, Happy New Year to you." Thanks so much, Robert. Really do appreciate it. Robert's actually not a Bulldogs fan. I don't want to, start a fight. He's actually, I think he's a Clemson, something in orange, something. I know it's not Tennessee. It's not Tennessee. I think it's pretty much it's Clemson, right? I think it's just who your team is. So, I mean, it's not Georgia. It's not University of Georgia, not UGA. But you know what's funny about this, and I'm gonna go back to lawn care. But what this shows is that the committee that chooses who gets in the playoffs totally messed up, because Georgia, granted, I'm like Monday morning quarterbacking here, but Georgia would have beat any of those teams. You got Washington and whoever the other one is, Michigan in the playoffs. I mean, I personally think that Georgia would have been one of the teams in the playoffs had they had the chance to do that. But whatever, that's what you get for not winning. It's going to be an interesting national championship, right? Next up is Mary J. She says, "Last month I was enjoying the break from mowing and lawn care." A break from mowing and lawn care? What savagery do you speak of, Mary? She says, "Now I'm looking out the window, planning spring projects. Happy New Year, Ron. It's going to be here before you know it." It's going to be here before you know it, Mary. Enjoy the downtime. If downtime is a thing for you, enjoy it now while it lasts, because before you know it, you're going to have to be out there. Think about it. You're going to be like, "Hey, look, I don't want to do it, but I got a rep to uphold on my street. These other folks, they're probably watching me. They're trying to come up a little bit. You have to get out there and just do the work, right? You're going to have to show folks that it's that you got it. That you got it." All right, next up is Oliver Richam is in the house. He says, "Happy 2024, Ron. Looking forward to what's in store for this season. Hopefully there will be updates on some new products." Yes, as soon as they are ready to be announced, I will let you know, Oliver. As soon as they're ready, you will know. How's that? You will know. I mean, there's always small things, tweaks and stuff being done to the store, but I'm working on something that's pretty cool that I think you guys are gonna like, and we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully it's available before springtime. So stay tuned. Thanks so much again, Robert. I appreciate it. Again, Happy New Year's to you. The Real Mowing Club says Trey John 1979's husband's lawn on this channel. So he was in Instagram. She's saying, "My husband's lawn looks great because of it." And this is the husband that your wife was saying your lawn. Again, your lawn looks incredible. So thanks so much for coming by and letting us know that you're now on the channel. Your wife is very proud of your lawn, so keep up the great work. You said mowing in December on Boxing Day. Hey, man, you got to get it in when you can, right? All right, next up is Andrew Phillips. He says, "Ron, when will you have an appearance from Lee from Real Rollers back on, and Devin?" Here's the thing. Devin's in the live stream now. Y'all ask him. I've asked him. I said, "Devin, when you come back on, man?" He's a busy guy. Here's the thing. Devin recently got married. So I know he's doing like the husbanding thing, and he can't be out. He's already taken Friday nights to come hang out with us. So I get it. He probably doesn't have as much time as he did in the past. But you guys bug him. Tell him, say, "Hey, when you coming back on the live stream?" You can even tell him he doesn't have to stay the entire time. He can come for just like an hour-long segment. We can say like the second hour of the live stream, like the 8 to 9 o'clock hour Eastern time. Devin will be on. If you have any like cool season grass questions, or you want to ask about golf course stuff, then he could be on for that. So we don't have to get him for the entire time if he's not that busy. And then Lee from Real Rollers, I'm sure he'll be back on. I'm sure he'll be back on here. I mean, over the next couple of months, I'm sure I'll have him on again. This time of year is just really slow. So I imagine as we get closer to whenever the revolutions are going to land and you guys are going to start getting them, I would think he would want to come on. We'll see. I'll ask him. But yeah, Devin and both Lee you'll likely see in the 2024 season at some point. How about that? Just bug him and tell him, say, hey man, we miss you. We need you to come on. Ron's boring to listen to all the time. We need like someone else. All right, James Kelly is up. Is at Devin. When will you make an appearance on the live stream? All right, next up is Timothy Gonzalez is in the house. He says, let's see here. He says, Happy New Year, Ron. I understand certainty for POA, but I have a moderate size areas of fescue. Would you advise against Roundup in northwestern New Mexico? Just had snow with lows the next week in the single digits. Yeah, so with that kind of climate, Timothy, you're really not going to be spraying anything on the lawn, right? I mean, you're talking about snow on the ground, and I mean, you're going to be waiting a while before you really spray for anything. Certainty, for the areas of your lawn that are warm season grass, certainty will absolutely work well. You're not going to want to spray that on your fescue. And then Roundup, again, I'm just not a fan of spraying Roundup on turf that you care about unless you're willing to tolerate some damage. Like if you go into it spraying Roundup on your fescue lawn to get rid of the Poa annua, you are going to injure it. Like anything that's nearby that you get the Roundup on, the glyphosate on, it's going to damage that grass. So it's up to you. Maybe in your case, you're going to spray the Poa, kill it, and then reseed in the springtime, to recover from that damage. If that's the route that you're going and you know that going into it, then sure. But for most people, that's not what they want to do. They're just thinking they can just use glyphosate very carefully and not injure the surrounding lawn, and that's not typically the case. So yeah, I wouldn't spray anything this time of year. Given what you're telling me as far as the snow you guys are getting, certainty on the warm season turf, awesome for POA. Roundup, really your call, but I'm not a fan of using that on any kind of turf grass that you care about, because it is going to cause injury. Like you're going to be reseeding or you're replacing the lawn in the areas that the glyphosate damages if you decide to go that route. So you just have to go into it knowing that I'm going to get rid of the POA, or I'm going to kill the POA, but it's going to come at the expense of my fescue lawn. I don't personally think it's worth it. You know what I mean? For me, I personally wouldn't, but your call. It's up to you. All right, Randall Lard is in the house in the live stream. Let's see what we got here on the gram. We got Doug Flanders. What's going on, Doug? Doug's in the live stream as well. And then next up, we got Randall Lard. He says, good evening, Ron. Have a great show. No POA here in Northern Alabama. I did the split app like you did I'm guessing you did the Spectacle. Apps were 1 week behind. Both your apps, great product. So there you go. So Randall, use Spectacle Flow. And I'm telling you guys, if you don't want to deal with Poa annua in your warm season turf, buy this. It is not cheap, but the reason why it costs what it costs is because it's worth it. It's a good product, really good product. I mean, it's like Celsius for broadleaf control and warm season turf, good product. Not the cheapest, but it's like, in my opinion, about the best you can go with, especially if you want to spray it over a broad temperature range. Like for pre-emergent, particularly for Poa annua, that's what Spectacle Flow is for warm season lawns. So it's worth the investment, in my opinion. Glad to hear that your lawn is POA free. Randall, nice work. All right, so we have another super chat. This one, I think, is from Mr. Luis Ayabraño. I'm butchering your name, Luis. Good to see you back, sir. Hopefully you're doing well.
Super chat
He
received.
says, Ron, glad to be back. Want to stock up on liquids, but last year's a brand not from you thickened up in storage. Thoughts on buying now for use in April, May? Grass still greenest in the area after a few snow showers. Thanks. Yeah, so Luis, as far as you buying the carbon kit, so Release Zero, NutriKelp, Release 901C, any of those products, like I literally, from year to year, I literally have product that I finish off the season with, and then I use some of it the following season. Like I got some, let me see, I got some NutriKelp and some Release 901C in, and it's sitting in the garage. And it's, again, I've never, with the Mirimichi products, I've never had a problem with any kind of clumping or it gelling, or pretty much when it's exposed to cooler temperatures within the garage, that it's not usable the next year. Like I'm trying to think, I've never had a year where I used everything up that year, and then the following year I started with fresh products all over again. There's always been some that left, like finished up one season, then moved to the next season, to the upcoming season. So if your question is if you want to stock up on liquids now, yes, I'd be totally for that. It's what I do. Like, I mean, my lawn, I've already got the stuff. I already got, from a Mirimichi standpoint, I've already got, let me see, I've got 4 gallons. No, sorry, I got 2.5 gallons of NutriKelp and also of 901C, and I've got plenty of BioSpectrum for the next couple of years. I got plenty of BioSpectrum, so I didn't get any more of that this year. But yes, I've got, to answer your question, yes, if you want to get granular fertilizer now and stock up on that, by all means. If you want to get liquids now and stock up on those, also by all means. Because the thing that tends to happen, particularly the Mirimichi products, we do a pretty good job of keeping those in, but any of the products from Ecology, those tend to become more difficult. Like you guys remember last year, in February, March, I mean, we'd get it, and I'd send you guys an email saying, hey, we got some back in stock. If you want it, go buy it, because then it would sell out again, right? So I'm not sure if they fixed a lot of their manufacturing issues where they're able to keep up with demand this year as much as, you know, with the issues that they had last year. But if you know what you're going to use, you know if you like the results you got last year, which it sounds like you did, and you want to stock up, I would absolutely go for it now. I really wouldn't wait. I mean, I've already got my liquids for this upcoming season in the garage already. So, like you, Luis, I am not messing around, and I think because of a penny more, you are now our show sponsor. Here's the thing, though. Archie was the first Super Chat of 2024. We can't take that away from him. You know, he's got that crown. But I think for now, given that you are above him on contributions, you are now our show sponsor. So there you go. Your name in lights for whatever that means to you. Thank you so much for the Super Chat, sir.
Super Chat received.
And hopefully I answered your question as far as products go. I mean, there's no real issue. Again, I would not leave them like outside in the cold, but as long as you're keeping them in a garage, you're gonna be just fine. I've done that for years and years and years and years and years, and I've not had any problems with any of my products not working the following year. So, great question, good idea. I like where your mind is as far as stocking up. Good idea. At least get your initial granulars and your liquids, like get those going. And as far as granular, what I'm going to be starting out with is the 12-0-24, the Stress 12-0-24. So this guy, I'll show you guys that as well. So if you go to shop and then go to lawn fertilizer, this is the first fertilizer, the first granular fertilizer that's going to be hitting my lawn this year. It's going to be this one. That's what I'm going to be using. So this is going to start the year, and then I will transition to the tried and true, the staple of the golf course lawn program, which is Humic Max. So I'm going to go from the 12-0-24 to Humic Max, and that's going to really be it. That's going to be it until the fall time frame. If you need phosphorus, then you can substitute Humic Max for the complete 14-7-14. But outside of that, these two guys are going to be your jam. Thank you so much for the super chat again, Luis. If you have any other questions, let me know. And again, Happy New Year. Looking forward to a great season. Glad to hear that your lawn is doing well. I got another super chat here. This one is from Mr. Fernando I. Thank you so much, Fernando. I appreciate that. Thank you for the super chat.
Super chat received.
Appreciate the love and support, sir. Hopefully your lawn is doing well. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to drop them in the live stream. Now the fun part, finding out where I left off, guys. It's always, if I could go to the super chat, it's always finding out where I left off is always the tough part. Okay, here we go. Next up is Mr. Joe Cox. Joe Cox is in the house. He says, good evening. Can you give some advice on starting a backyard putting green about 1,000 square feet? I have a TrueCut 7-blade 20-inch reel mower located in central Mississippi. So I'll say this, Joe. I don't have a putting green. I don't have a putting green myself, mainly because they're a ton of work to maintain. If you're going to do a putting green with a TrueCut, I mean, I don't know if you can really get low enough without scalping on a TrueCut to really maintain a green. I mean, you can get those pretty low. The thing I would say is this: if you're going to do a putting green and the true cut is the mower you're going to use, then it's going to need to be a relatively flat green. Like, you have some greens they want to put like swales in them and like where you can have breaks and this kind of stuff. That's going to be problematic with a true cut when you get down to true greens height. So like, 2/10 of an inch and lower, we're getting really that low. A true cut is not going to do a great job cutting at those heights without potentially scalping. So, you'd really want to switch to something like a true greens mower, like a Greensmaster, something from John Deere. If you are going to be building a green that has like undulations in it, you may want to spring for like one of the flex units, so that where the floating head units where it can follow the contours a bit better. The thing I would tell you is, if you're going to do that and maintain a green, like the reason why greens look great on golf courses is because they get mowed more than any other part of the course. So during the growing season, really every day you're gonna need to mow it. If you're at true greens heights, you're going to be using fungicides regularly. So whereas on a regular stand of turf grass like your lawn, you're going to be using fungicide in May, June, and then again October, November. I mean, outside of any kind of disease problem. So you can use fungicides largely preventatively. The preventatively, when it comes to a green, really becomes like an every month thing. So you're going to have to keep your equipment sharp. You can mow every day. It's a lot of work to maintain a golf green. It's partly why I don't do it. Because in my case, think about it. In my case, the mower that I do have a mower that would work well on a green. Like my Greensmaster would be great for a green. The problem is that I also use that mower on the front lawn, and I'm not going to be mowing the front lawn at greens heights. So literally, I would have to set the mower up, like drop it down to cut the green, and then raise it up to go cut the front lawn. And I just don't care that much. That's too much work for me. For me, it's too much work. So if you are going to mow it a little bit taller, so, let's say not true greens heights, but say 0.4, 0.35, 0.4. So between say 0.35 and half an inch, which again is not true greens heights, but it's low to where you could roll a ball on it, then that's going to be, a bit more doable. It's still a lot of work, and I would say this: try it if you want, give it a shot. Everyone should experience it. Should experience trying to maintain a piece of turf grass at under half an inch to realize that there's a lot of work that goes into doing that. So, whenever Devin is on again, whenever we have Demir on again, you keep watching the content. Whenever he's on again, that's a great question I'm going to pose to him. As far as if you had to give advice to someone that's going to be growing a green or doing a golf green, what would you recommend? I think in a live stream I actually took part of that. I think this question has been answered, Joe. Let me actually look for it. The more I think about it, I believe we've already answered this question because Devin was on. I took that snippet out on having a green at home, what's involved in doing that, and pretty much his advice in a nutshell was unless you've got a whole lot of time and money, don't bother, don't do it. At least at greens heights. Yeah, I did find it. So yeah, so here is the live stream, or this was taken out of a live stream with Devin discussing this very question. So I'm going to send that to you here in the chat now, at Joe Cox. Green, let me see, creating a green at home, creating a golf green. Here you go. So this is, yeah, it's already been answered. So take a look at that. That's a snippet from a live stream from maybe last year or the year before on that answered this very question. If you're serious about it, you're going to want to go to something more than I'd say, I don't want to say better, but something that's better suited for the job than a true cut. You really want to step into a Greensmaster or a Toro. You could also look into if you want a push greens mower, like that mower from Hudson Star. But those are if you buy one brand new, you're approaching the price of pre-owned John Deere or Greensmaster. So it's kind of up to you which way you want to go. But I mean, if you're serious about doing a green, you need to use a greens mower. So Toro or John Deere is what I would say is what you're going to want to invest in if you really want it to look nice and get that cut that only a greens mower can really produce. So great question, sir. Congrats on trying to take that on. Keep us posted as far as how it develops if you decide to go that route. But hope I didn't scare you away too much. Just realize it's a lot of work. It's funny. A friend of mine that that used to work. He used to be a golf course superintendent, and he says, and we were talking one day, and I was telling him, the more, the lower you go, the more you got to mow. He says, Ron, you always say that, but really more accurate would be to say the lower you go, the more you have to do. Because yes, you have to mow more, but you got to do more of other stuff too. So for a green, more regular top dressing, you're gonna be doing that. Fungicides, you're gonna be doing that. So it's just more as the heights of cut go lower and lower. You're stressing the turf more, and to keep it looking good, it just requires more work. So just something to keep in mind. But if you do it, take pictures, let me know. I'll show everyone in the live stream. Sounds like a cool project, just not something that I have done because even a man's got to know his limitations. How about that? And my limitations are I do not want to have to mow every single day and sit and reset the height of cut on my mower every single day. It's just too much work. All right, next up is Terrence Ponchak. He says, do you use nitrogen at all in the spring? St. Louis here, thanks. I do, Terrence. So the fertilizer that I use tends to have some nitrogen in it. It tends to be a slower release nitrogen, but I also like a fertilizer that is high in potassium. So you're talking about a time when the turf is transitioning out of dormancy. It's a more stressful time for grass that's waking up. So I like a higher potassium fertilizer. So what I use is this. Is the Stress 12024. You'll see it has 12% nitrogen and 24% sulfate of potash. So this is the blend that I use on my lawn, and I use this in the springtime and again in the fall. For those of you guys that have cool season turf, you could use this in the summer months too. Whenever it gets really hot and you're just trying to keep like your ryegrass lawn or your Kentucky bluegrass lawn alive, like this is a great option as well too. You got a little bit of N to continue feeding the lawn and the potassium to help it manage those stressful conditions. So this is what I use, Terrence, in the springtime on my lawn to wake the lawn up. Great question. And I will link that for you in case you're interested, because this is going to be the first granular that my golf course lawn is going to get. Great stuff. All right, Sean Murphy is in the house. Sean, Sean, every time I see your name, I think about like Eddie Murphy and Charlie Murphy, because there's so many skits. I don't know why. I have no idea why I do that, but everything I see your name, I think, oh, like Charlie Murphy. He does a lot of cool skits and stuff, or did a lot of cool skits. Anyway, he says, Happy New Year, Ron. I've been enjoying the show this time of year in Tampa. Also looking forward to what 2024 has in store for the lawn when we pick back up. I can tell you what's got in store, Sean. Domination. That's what it's got. You're going to get out there, you're going to work hard, and you're going to make all the other people on your street be like, this guy, what's he doing? Why can't I keep up? That's what you got. Domination. I can already tell you. If you're on a lawn care live stream on a Friday night, then you pass the test. You pass the lawn nerd test. So really, as long as you do the work, there's really no reason for you to have an awesome lawn. No reason for you not to be that guy or gal on the street that everyone, you set the standard for the neighborhood. All right, Mark Luna is up next. He says, good evening, Ron and Stripe Action Gang. Dormancy is boring. Ready for the spring. Spectacle is still holding strong. It should. It's a great, for what it costs, it better work well, right? And I'm glad to hear that, Mark. Again, it's not the most inexpensive product, but for what it is designed to do, especially in warm season turf, in my opinion, there's not really a whole lot better. So yeah, it's a great product. Great product. Glad to hear that Spectacle is working well for you. And 2024 should be a lot of fun, right? Should be a great season for us all. Should be a great season. The lawn, let me see here. Lawnmower Master says, if you could recommend any broadcast spreader under $450, what would it be? It would be the one that I use, which is the Earthway 2050P Lawnmower Master. The reason why I like that one is for a couple of reasons. Is it's smaller. So if you're, as far as like a place to store it, it's not going to take up a ton of space. Like some of the bigger heavy duty spreaders, like the Lescos, they're great spreaders, but they're kind of big, right? So I am a fan of the 2050P because it's got air-filled tires, and because it's considered like a prosumer type spreader, if you go look at a bag of like Humic Max fertilizer, any of the professional fertilizers, any of the stuff from Lebanon Turf, you go look up a bag of Headway G or a Celiprin or any professional products, there will normally be a setting on the bag for an Earthway spreader, where if you have like a Scott spreader, not so much. And so for me, that's the one that I would go with. I like it so much, Lawn Master, that I actually bought I bought a second one. Like I had one at first that I used for years, and then I gifted it to a buddy of mine. Gifted it to Alex, and I bought another one of the exact same thing. So I really like the Earthway. It's a great spreader. The 2050P model is the one that you want. It's about half of what it's like 200. You can get it for under $250, right? It looks like right now they're going for like 230. So that is what I would go with. So I'll link it for you here in the chat in case you feel like picking one up. You can look up here on Amazonia, the Earthway 2050P. And that's where you can grab one. The only thing I will tell you is if you decide to go that route, Lawnmower Master, is so on my older one, the wing nuts, as far as assembly, there's not really a whole lot to assemble. You just take it out of the box, you fold the handle up, tighten the wing nuts, and away you go, right? On my old one, and I should go look at Alex's, but because he has it, the wing nuts had they were like nylock, so there was like a nylon insert inside the threads that helped it not back out like once you tightened it. And the newer one that I got didn't have that. Now, it might just be an issue with just the one that I got. But what I would say is if you decide to go with that spreader, the only thing I would recommend is get yourself some blue Loctite, not the red. Get the blue Loctite, put a drop on each one of the bolts, and then tighten the nuts, the wing nuts down. Let it sit for 15 minutes or so, and then away you go. You never have to worry about it like coming loose or anything like that. That's the only thing I would say is something to consider. And then from maintenance items, there's not a whole lot that really goes wrong with that spreader, other than there's, if you get have a set of cotter pins on hand, because there's a cotter pin goes through, I forget which side it is, but it goes through the wheel hub, and then also through the axle. And those from time to time, like they will rust and they'll break, and it's not a big deal. You just slap a new one in. It takes all like 10 seconds to put a new one in there, and then you're off and good to go. The only problem is if you don't have one, then you're kind of down. What you can do at a pinch is if you have like a clothes hanger, because I've done that too, take a clothes hanger, you can, like a metal one, you can use that as a makeshift cotter pin as well, in case, you don't have a set of cotter pins on you. But that's the only thing I'd say. A drop of Loctite on each one of the bolts that hold the handle in place, and then have a set of cotter pins on hand, or just make your own, and then you'll be good to go. But that is what I would use. It's quite a bit less expensive than the spreaders that are in that $450 price range like you're talking about, and it's what I use. I mean, it's a great spreader. It's the one I'm a big fan of the 2050P. Great. I'm sure there's other ones out there, but the 2050P for the big reason of like it just saves you time. You don't have to worry about using like spreader conversion charts or any of this kind of stuff. Like literally, if you have anything from Syngenta or Lebanon or Miramichi, like there's going to be a setting on the bag for an Earthway. So that in itself, in my opinion, makes it worth your consideration. All right, next up is Los. He says, she's purty at CPIMS. It is, man. You guys want to see CPIMS' new hotness? Check it out. There's McLean. Look at that. It's a new hotness. Picture 1, picture 2, and picture 3. This time with the grass catcher, you got the side profile action, and then the head-on action. It's almost like cars. When you get a car, you take a picture from the side, the rear quarter, the rear third shot. You got to take a picture from all the different angles. Now, here's the thing, Colin. We're going to need pictures once you upgrade it. Once you put that roller on there, we got to have pictures of that too. We got to have the fully upgraded mower. Like it's almost like when you have a car and you put wheels on it. If you decide your person that puts wheels on your car, it totally transforms the look of the car. When you get your front roller, we got to see pictures of that too. So make sure you have the camera handy once that shows up when you install it. Very nice. All right, True Trilla says, before you know it, we'll be we'll be mowing the lawn, slaying weeds, and dominating the neighborhood. Happy New Year, everyone. That's right. It's gonna be here before you know it. So enjoy this downtime. Let's see what we got here on the gram. You guys are quiet tonight, man. You guys are quiet. All right, next up is iBrewer. Let's see here. iBrew. Le Bear Brewer? I think that's what it is. The Bear Brewer. Le Bear Brewer. Le Bear Brewer. I think that's what it is. French? The Bear Brewer. Okay. He said, wish it wasn't so difficult to get these real mowers sharpened. 2 hours away is the closest for me. Yeah, that can be kind of a pain. Le Bear Brewer. I know that's something that Lee and the folks at Real Rollers are working on as far as being able to get sharpening and this kind of stuff, like solving that problem, because the most important thing for a reel mower is that it's kept sharp, right? Really for any mower, but reel mowers especially, they got to be kept sharp to perform well. And that's something that they're working on as far as folks that live in a part of the country where they want a reel mow, but you don't have anyone nearby that can do sharpening work for you. I think that's something I know it's something that they are actively putting in place for owners to be able to get their equipment taken care of, sharpened. So yeah, I get it. I mean, that is a downside, but I mean, if you can solve that, it's so worth it. Because I mean, the way your turf looks when it's reel mode, man, is just it's tough to beat. Tough to beat. If stripe action and lawn domination is your thing, reel mowers are pretty awesome for that. All right, Jacob Madrid is up next. He says, "Happy New Year, Friday, stripe action gang." And Andrew says, "Same for me, about an hour away." But still, Andrew, you do a pretty good job keeping your lawn in check. I mean, so, and the thing you have to look at too, some of these services, well, I don't know, an hour away, maybe not, but a lot of the services will pick up your mower or pick up the mower and do all the maintenance for you and then bring it back. I mean, granted, you're going to pay more for that, but depending on what your time is worth to you, it might be worth considering. Like Jerry Pate company, like who I've had do work for me in the past, like they are on the south side of Atlanta. They're like south of Atlanta, so that's an hour and change for me to drive there. So this year, I've given the True Cut, the Greensmaster, and the cutting cartridge for the Outlet are all out. They're all up. They got picked up 3 days ago. Actually, no, it's not true. They got picked up late last week, because we're already in January. They got picked up like the last couple of days of they got picked up over this last Saturday. That's when it happened. They got picked up last Saturday, and yeah, they're out getting all tuned up. So the Greensmaster is getting sharpened, getting tuned up, getting a new cord put on it. The True Cut is getting a new bed knife and getting sharpened, getting all freshened up. And then, of course, the Outlet C27 is also getting just the cutting cartridge is also getting freshened up. So all my stuff, right now I have no mower. I could not cut my grass if I wanted to. I got nothing to cut grass with right now. Kind of stinks, right? I could turf rake it. I got no way to cut it. But yes, if you can, finding a service that will come pick up your mower is something to consider. But for those of you guys with Revolution 26s, I know Real Rollers is working on a process for you guys to be able to get your stuff taken care of, regardless of where you are in the country. All right, next up is Brian Tanner. He says, "Good evening, Ron. Just joining. FYI, Soil 3 has a big yellow bag with $30 off right now for sale." Yeah, so if that's the case, Brian, if you use my code, my link, it should get you a little bit more off of that $30. So if you're interested and you want to stock up on top dressing material now, again, kind of early, but if you got a place to put it, why not save some money? So by using this link here, ron-henry.com/top dressing, so at Brian Tanner, like that will save you a little bit on top of whatever the folks at Supersod Soil 3 are doing. So good stuff, man. It's a great product. I got to tell you, as far as a material to top dress my lawn with, I've used all the top dressing mixes in this area, at least the ones that I know about anyway. And by far, the Supersod stuff is the best. It's great. As far as like a ready mix, just you pay for it, it shows up, and you just put it down. There's not much that really beats that, at least not in this part of the country around here. Good product. Rob Short says, "Ron, do you wait until your lawn is looking good before you use a PGR? Or do you apply it once the grass starts growing? I applied it towards the end of summer, and it definitely slows it down." Yeah, Rob. So for me, I introduce growth regulator in late April to early May. That's my time frame. By then, the lawn for the most part is greened up. I'm mowing it regularly, and I like to get my PGR. I like to get my growth regulator in the plant a little bit earlier in the season, and because I just find that works better versus waiting till like June to start applying it. So the end of April, early May is when I will start using my growth regulator. So hope that helps. And you are correct. If you use growth regulator on your lawn, it will slow down how quickly it grows, because that's kind of what it's designed to do. But yeah, what I would say is if your lawn is largely green and you're regularly mowing it, meaning if you're already out there mowing it a couple times per week, then by all means start introducing introducing Primo Max. This is the stuff that I use on my lawn. Great product. And if you want some guidance on that, I've got a really good blog post that talks about spraying it at the full rate and also spraying it the way that I recommend doing it, which is spraying it every 2 weeks at half rate. That you get all the benefits and none of the downsides of growth regulator if you do that. So that is what I would do, and hopefully you find that useful. I'll actually get the blog post for you here now, Rob. It's under, you go to the golf course lawn store. If you go to resources and then blog, I think it's on page 2 at this point. Pretty sure. Maybe even page 3. We'll see. Yep, page 3. Too many blogs, man. Too much writing. All right, good. This one here. How plant growth regulation can make your lawn thicker and greener. So I'll link this for you in the chat, Rob. The cool thing about this is you already know the benefits of growth regulator, right? And for anyone else that's watching, you guys know why you'd want to use PGR. But the area about this that's valuable is the third section on how to avoid tip burn, and then this set of tables, or this section here that talks about the rates that you can use if you're going to be spraying it every 2 weeks instead of once per month. So that in itself is worth considering if you're someone that's new to PGR. It's a short read. Again, I don't like to make content, kind of like my videos. I don't like to make content any longer than it needs to be. So the blog is well written. It's short. It's a quick read, and I think it'll provide some value for you if you're someone that's new to growth regulator and are just looking for some tips on how to get the most out of it. So PGR blog post, and there you go. All right. CPIMS, he says, I agree, Ron. Once I used new setup and dialed it in where I want it, the backyard is going to be fire. Also planning on putting pass pullum in the front as well here in the next couple of months. Nice. I like it. Renovation project, new mower. You're doing all the things, man. You're not messing around. Larry is in the house in the live stream. He says, hey, Ron and everyone, late to the party again. I mowed the lawn today so I can be ready when my Triad and other supplies come in. I'll spray Sedgehammer after the rain takes a break for a few days. Nice. I like it, Larry. If you're going to be spraying Sedgehammer, I think you already have surfactant, but if not, use surfactant along with it. It's going to help the product work better. And then also Triad, same thing as well with that too. If you're going to be spraying that, use surfactant with it to get the most out of the product. So good stuff, man. Robert Rainey is here. He says, I'm not coming for you, Devin. That's Ron just stirring the pot. Oh, he's coming. Listen, that's passive aggressive. Don't listen to Robert. Listen, he is, don't take that to be like, oh no, I don't really care, man. I just like mowing my grass. I just do it here. This is how Robert would be. I just do it for the artistry of lawn care. I'm not really competitive at all by nature. That's what he would like you to believe, but it's not. He's not that way. I don't believe it. I don't buy it. I'm not stirring the pot at all. I'm just telling you what's what you're dealing with. I mean, this man here's the thing. Robert, to my knowledge, does not have a YouTube channel. Yet he goes out and he's got a drone take pictures of his lawn. He's overseeded his lawn. He mows it religiously. I mean, you actually should start a YouTube channel, Robert, but I mean, assuming you have the time to do it. But I mean, this man is very serious about his lawn care program. So for him telling you that it's not a competition, it's always a competition. It always is. Even though people won't say it, because you want to be like, oh, I just do it just because it's fun. I want to just, for myself and just for the challenge of creating a great lawn. It's a competition. Let's just keep it real. I mean, here's the thing. You know how you can know if it is? If any of you in the sound of my voice, and be true, be honest, because it's just you, you're only going to know the truth. If any of you at any point are indoors and you hear a lawnmower start up outside during the growing season, you hear a lawnmower start up outside, and you've gone to the window to see who on earth is trying to one-up me. If you've ever done that, if any of you have ever done that, then you're competitive. If any of you have ever done that, and I'm pretty sure Robert lives kind of far away from anyone, so maybe not him, but most of you guys, if you live in a neighborhood, I'm going to say guilty as charged. I've definitely done it. Here's the thing. I'm so bad, I can actually tell who's mowing based on the sound. I'm like, oh, Alex is out there. I can tell. It's the sound of a true cut. It's Alex. Oh, that's a zero turn. And every now and then I'll look outside. Oh, it's like a lawn care service from one of the people that only mow their grass every 2 weeks. So no worry about competition from them. But if I hear a new piece of equipment running that I haven't heard before, got a well-tuned ear, I get up there and I see what's going on, see what the competition is doing. So all you guys have done that, so you're all competitive. I don't want to hear anything different. All right, Mark Romano is up next. He says, when my lawn is finished, should I charge my downstairs tenant a resort fee? You could. I mean, it depends if they care about the lawn that much. They might not. They might not care that much, Mark. Here's the thing, too. I mean, do they get to use the lawn, or do they get to just look at it? I mean, if you just you mow it and it looks pristine, but then no one is allowed to walk on the lawn or whatever, then it's kind of, charging the resort fee maybe is not really that fair. But if they get to come out there and set up volleyball posts and or play soccer on it, that kind of thing, then an argument could be made that it takes money to upkeep the lawn at that standard, right? So maybe a resort fee would be appropriate. So it all comes down to whether they're allowed to use the lawn or not. If so, maybe. If not, then no. All right. Timothy Gonzalez says, how is Alex's lawn these days? Watched the whole series twice this past year, and it helped me get started. Awesome, Timothy. Glad to hear that. His lawn looks like my lawn. It's dormant. It's brown. It's brown, brown, brown. Like there's, we're just waiting for warmer weather so we can get out there and start mowing. Again, 4 weeks from now, depending on how the temperatures are going, I'll likely do my pre-emergent. I'll start turf raking. I'll do my pre-emergent, but yeah, it's dormant. It looks like a dormant lawn. Folks from up north that take a picture or look at the lawns, they'll say they think all our lawns die during the wintertime because it actually looks like dead grass. Robert, he's got an eye up here saying, man, listen, you're competitive. You are totally competitive. You're competitive. Okay, fine. You're not competitive. You just like a really nice lawn. You're the only one that's not that way. Okay. All right, Mason RC is up next. He says, have you tried applying molasses to your lawn? I have had pretty good color response from using it. It's all supposed to feed the microbes in your soil. I've heard about the benefits of using molasses, Mason RC. I have not personally done that. Between Biospectrum, Nutrikelp, and the other biostimulants that I already use, I don't really see the need to introduce anything else. But I have heard what you said as far as molasses helping with increasing microbial activity. There are people that also use molasses if they're trying to, as far as like a liquid aeration or help to accelerate thatch breakdown. You hear about molasses being used for that as well. I personally don't have any direct experience with it to know how well it works, but there's quite a few people that use molasses in the way that you're using it, and they also report good results. So if it's working for you, then I would keep rolling with it. If you're getting results with it and you like what you're getting, then do it. Mark Romano says, did Archie hear about the contest? Yeah. Oh, Archie, yeah. I don't think, what happened? Did he win? He wasn't here? I think you won, Archie, last week. I forget what it was, but you weren't here. You weren't in the live stream. Like you're doing something else on a Friday night for New Year's weekend. Go figure, right? I can't imagine why anyone would not want to be on a lawn care live stream on like New Year's Eve weekend. But I believe you and LG. LG I know definitely did, but I think you did. And it might not have been you because the name said Archie and some other characters behind it. So it might not have been like your account. So it's hard to say, but LG definitely won. I think you did as well too, but whatever. We're going to do more this year. As a matter of fact, show you guys new swag, new stuff here. Kind of cool. The folks at Miramichi said, hey, Ron, the guys and gals on your live stream seem to really like, the t-shirts and the swag. So they sent me some shirts ahead of time, some Greatness from the Ground Up t-shirts. So I got some of these in, which is kind of cool. They're in different sizes. There's things like 3 large, there's a few of them. So when we do the next giveaway, I'll have some shirts to throw your way. Or we'll figure something out, Sal. But at any rate, these will be available as part of giveaways that we're going to be doing this year. So thanks again to the folks at Miramichi Green for supporting the channel, supporting the content, being a great partner, and providing you guys with some pretty cool swag. So they just sent me those. Those showed up here a couple days ago, which is pretty cool. Cool t-shirts. I got stuff to be able to give away, which is kind of nice. Next up is Gary Freeman. He says, hey, Ron and Strap Action Gang, happy Friday and Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Archie. Happy New Year. Hopefully you're doing well. And then next up is King Khan. He says, what's going on, everyone? Counting down for the temperature increase. They'll be here soon. Give it time. It'll happen. The earth is still making its way around the sun. It's going to warm up here soon. We have to wait our turn. Here's the guys in the southern hemisphere. They're enjoying their lawns right now, and then we're gonna get our turns. We have to alternate. We have to take a L for a while so they can have fun, and it's gonna be our turn here soon. So now they're on the downtrend. We're on the uptrend. Fear not. You're going to be out there in the lawn before you know it. All right, next up is CPIMS. He says, yes, it's I got the corded power rig set up, got it off Amazon during the last season. Similar to the Sun Joe, it also came with a verticutting cartridge blade too. Nice. I'll tell you, man, CPIMS, or Colin, once May hits, like if you can verticut like once a month, it's really gonna make a big difference in the way your turf looks. Now, granted, it makes a bit of a mess when you do it, but as far as just like how the lawn looks once you're done with a good verticut, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. I mean, you can look at videos of my lawns for years and years and years past, and it looked good. I think it looked better than most. But then when I started introducing turf raking and then verticutting throughout the growing season, it took off. It literally looked like a standard professional turf. It looked really good, mainly because the cutting problems that you have as the lawn thickens up from being regularly reel mowed, like you're able to mildly reset that with verticutting. You're able to thin it out in a way that doesn't make it look ugly in the process. I mean, it creates a lot of debris when in the process, but once you're done with it, the turf looks awesome, and I highly recommend verticutting for anyone that has warm season turf, and if you got the time to do it. It really is going to set your lawn apart. JS says, hey, Ron. Hello, JS. Okay, next up is Dan. Let me see. I'm not sure what the question is. Okay, so Dan Lynch has a question. He says, hey, Ron, I need clarification. My lawn was installed in 303. So in March 2003, I'm not sure if I'm reading this correctly. He says, and I thought it was not advisable something in the first year. Should I put out prodiamine I purchased now or later switch to Spectacle? Okay, Dan. So I'm looking at your question. I'm not sure I understand what you're asking. So I'll answer both. I'll answer it in a general way. So if you have a Bermuda grass lawn and it's been installed for 6 months, then yes, you're good to use pre-emergent on it. I would use prodiamine as your spring pre-emergent, and I would use Spectacle Flow for your fall pre-emergent. So let's say you had a lawn and it was installed in, let's say maybe you meant like March 2023, so like March of last year. So if your lawn was installed March of last year, then you could have used pre-emergent in the fall. That wouldn't have been a problem. Certainly this spring, you're going to want to use pre-emergent, and what I would use is prodiamine. And then for the fall of 2024, use Spectacle Flow. And I'm answering this question assuming that you have a Bermuda grass lawn or Bermuda or zoysia lawn, because Spectacle, as awesome as it is, this is only for warm season turf. You do not want to use this on a cool season lawn. It will damage it. So if you have a warm season lawn, Spectacle in the fall of this year, and in the springtime, use prodiamine. If you got a cool season lawn, then what you could do is you could go with, say, Dimension, like dithiopyr in the springtime, and then use Spectacle in the fall, because you can't use this on cool season turf in the fall months, unfortunately. Unfortunately not. So hopefully that helps. I didn't fully understand the question, but the long short of it is, if your lawn was installed March of last year and it's warm season turf like Bermuda grass, or it's Bermuda grass, then yeah, you're good to use pre-emergent this spring without issue. And prodiamine is what I would use. So hope that helps, Dan. If you have any other questions, feel free to let me know. But I think that's what you're asking me. All right, James Kelly's up next. He says, "LOL, I just asked Devin that." Okay, I'm not sure. And then next up is JS. He says, "Hey Ron, Joe here. Did a soil test in October. N and K are extremely low. Okay, so your nitrogen and potassium were low. Okay, got it. Applied ammonium sulfate and potash. Did a second test in December and did not change. The K went up a little bit. What should I do?" So I'm not sure. I mean, you applied ammonium sulfate. I guess was your pH levels also high, JS? Because that's why you're using like the ammonium sulfate. At any rate, what I would say is, whenever you're going to, I don't know what kind of grass you have because you didn't tell me, but let's say you have a Bermuda lawn, right? And you're going to start feeding it in the springtime. What I would say is go with a product like the 12024. So like this, if you go to shop and then lawn fertilizer, and then you go with the Stress 12024 product, like this guy here, like this is what I would use. It has N in it, it has K in it. It will raise both of those levels. And but I wouldn't do it this time of year. I would wait until, unless you live in a part of the country where you're still mowing your grass. Like if you're in like South Florida, then sure, by all means go with this. But if you're somewhere where your lawn is dormant, then I would wait until it's actively growing before you use this fertilizer. But the 12024, this one from Lebanon Turf, we carry on the Golf Course Lawn Store, is what I would I'd recommend. So I'll link that to you here in the chat now, and hopefully that that helps. So there you go. All right, next up we have Ron taking a drink because his throat's dry. All right. Next we have No Name is up next. He says, thanks for doing the blog post. A lot of great information and definitely something to take a look at during the off season in preparation for the spring. Yeah, that's the idea, man. I mean, it's a great way to serve as a reference for you guys. And if you have a friend or family member that says, hey, I see you spraying, I've heard about growth regulator. Like what is it? How do I use it? Versus you having to sit down and answer the question, go on. You can just say, hey, you know what? Go to the Golf Course Lawn Store and read this article. And it will tell you everything you need to know about Primo, about growth regulator, why they're awesome, why you should use them, how to use them properly, and this kind of stuff, along with a bunch of other topics, right? Fertilizer choices, like we're coming up on spring, like a great read. I mean, we're not quite in springtime yet, but a great read that you guys will want to consider at some point would be this guy. I mean, granted, the folks on here probably already know what they're going to be doing, but if you want like some content on, how to choose a spring fertilizer, let's see, choosing spring fertilizer, this blog post answers it's the hardest thing to talk and type at the same time. I don't know. I've always had an issue with that. Fertilizer. You guys will forgive me there, right? All right. So that blog post on that topic covers that. So there's content for pretty much every season. Weed control, both post and pre-emergent. So yeah, I'm just trying to, whenever I get a question, if I get it more than a couple of times, it goes into the queue as far as the piece of content's got to be written on this so that someone, because if you have the question, someone else likely has it. So why not answer it for everybody and save, then they don't have to ask me and it saves them time, makes it more efficient, right? We like efficiency. Okay, next up we have, trying to find out where I left off, guys. Next up we have Jason Harrison. He says, Luis, I fully stocked up on Black Friday sale. All is perfectly fine. So there you go. Yeah, Jason bought like everything he needs for this season in November. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure if you ask him, he'll probably send you a picture of it. He's very impressed with his stock of them. He got his granular, his liquids. He's good to go for 2024. Next up is Robert Wallace, the world's biggest Bulldogs fan. He says, hey, Ron, thanks for recommending Spectacle Flow. This is the first year I haven't had to deal with POA. Robert, that's awesome. Because I got to tell you, like, it's one thing for me to get great results on my lawn, but it's always great to hear folks, like fellow dogs fans especially, because we got to take care of each other. They watch the content, they get a piece of advice, they follow that advice, and they get a great result. So I'm glad to hear that your lawn is free of POA annua. Due in no small part to Spectacle Flow. Again, it's not cheap, but in my opinion, it is the best for keeping POA out of warm season turf. It's an awesome, awesome product. That's why they charge so much for it. They're like, I'm sure the folks at Bayer, whenever they're saying, we should charge for this. Like, well, this stuff is pretty legit. We can charge a whole lot. We can make a lot of money off of this thing because there's nothing else on the market for it. And until there is, we're going to make money. And that's what they're doing. So, because Spectacle is a great product. Really good. Maybe one thing they could do. I mean, if they take a sheet or a page out of like Syngenta's playbook, they would create like a small package like this and put Spectacle in that. But I mean, I don't know how much Bayer really cares about the DIY space. I mean, Syngenta definitely is making investment in that. But I don't know if Bayer. I can't say that Bayer is, and View is, because they did this too. It might be in the works. They did this like this. It really only makes sense for homeowners, right? So they did that. So the fact that this exists shows that they are starting to give us in the DIY space a little bit of love. So who knows? Maybe like a smaller Spectacle might happen one day. Who knows? Who knows? All right, next up is Timothy Garcia. He says, dope. Got Homer Simpson, dope. worded my question quite poorly. What's the best way to get rid of areas of fescue in a Bermuda lawn? A great question, Timothy. So the nice things you can use post-emergent herbicides that are safe for Bermuda, and they won't injure the Bermuda, but they will injure the fescue. So you could use really any of these. Celsius, Certainty, any of those are going to injure and or kill a fescue lawn, especially if you spray it at the higher rates, because they're selectively safe for Bermuda, but not so much so for fescue. I still would not go. Here's the thing: if the fescue is like a section all by itself, right, where there's no Bermuda in it, then using something like Roundup would be a less expensive way to get rid of the fescue. But if you're talking about a lawn where you got fescue and Bermuda intertwined, I just wouldn't risk it. I would use a selective herbicide that is safe for warm season turf, like Celsius, like Certainty, that is going to injure or kill the fescue, and that's a better way of getting rid of it. 'Cause, for example, whenever people overseed their lawns in the fall months, like they overseed their Bermuda lawns with ryegrass to get that Robert Rainey effect, have the lawn looking all awesome, even when it's cold out. In the springtime, they have to get rid of the ryegrass, or the Bermuda is going to struggle. And what they do is they use a selective herbicide like Celsius, which is safe for Bermuda grass, is gentle on Bermuda grass, but is very good at removing, like, say, ryegrass from a warm season lawn. You know what I mean? So something like this is what I would say to go with, because the chances of you injuring your Bermuda with it are very low, practically zero, and it's going to do a good job cleaning up or injuring and getting rid of the fescue that you have in your lawn. If you're going to do that, use surfactant along with it. It's going to help the product to work better. So hope that helps, Timothy. The big thing is as far as the question of Roundup, is if the fescue is by itself. So it's like a section that is just fescue, then if you're really careful, you can use like a non-selective, like a product containing glyphosate to get rid of it. You know what I mean? But if it's mixed in, I personally would not chance it. There's people that'll tell you all day long, oh man, if it's dormant, go ahead, go for it, YOLO, gotta go for it. They only live once, man. Save money. But if it's not fully checked out in the springtime, you're gonna know it, and I don't think that is worth it. I just don't think it's worth it. All right, so next we have a question from Fernando. He says, hey, Ron, Happy New Year. I live in Florida. Yep, so hopefully that helps. I answered your question, Fernando. I sent you the information for Michael Hammonds. Give him a call. Tell him I sent you. He'll probably charge you double. And I know he's doing that. He's had folks that have in other parts of the country that have shipped reels to him, have shipped cartridges to him for allets, and he's done work on them. And he did the work on mine. Again, I didn't want to trust that to anybody, because that cartridge is very expensive. I mean, I don't even know what they cost these days. Like, to replace one of those, if it gets damaged or the whoever's working on it messes it up, it's not cheap. Like, I don't even know what is Alec asking for one of these right now? Yeah, almost $4,000. So like the 8-blade cutting cartridge for a C27. Let's see. Yeah, $3,900. They're just for one of these things. They are very, very proud of them. Very proud of them. So you don't want to send it to someone and take a chance of it getting messed up. So there you go. I know he's been doing allets, because whenever we picked up my mowers, he told me about it. He says, yeah, man, I had this guy, I think it was somewhere up north, maybe Missouri or something, that sent him his cartridge to get it taken care of. So I know he's doing that kind of thing. So just reach out to him and work something out. Let's see. Thanks, Dan. Hopefully that helped. That was helpful. And next up, let's see. You guys are asking Devin when he's coming back on. Todd's in the house. Todd Gleaves. He says, back for another Friday. Finally. What's going on, Todd? Man, it's been a while. Hopefully you're doing well, sir. I know the lawn's likely checked out right now, but thanks for coming to say hi in the live stream. Glad to just see that you're doing well. Cedric G's up next. Says, Big Ron, you are killing the lawn game. Keep up the excellent work, young fella. Turf's up, fur down, stripe action forever. I am trying, man. I'm trying. It's a work in progress. There's other folks that are definitely doing it bigger than I am at this point. But all you gotta do is keep grinding, keep working at it. As long as you don't quit, you'll get there, right? So gotta keep at it. I appreciate the kind words, Cedric. It really means a lot. And Happy New Year to you. And yeah, thanks a lot for saying that. It really means a lot. Jonathan Daza is in the house. He says, hey, hi, Ron. Happy New Year. How do you get rid of gophers in your lawn? I have been attacked. Are you sure they're gophers and not moles? There are gopher traps. I've not had to deal with, knock on wood, I've not had to deal with gophers personally myself, Jonathan. And I don't believe the same strategy that you use for moles will work for them. I know there are traps you can use for gophers. I'm not sure what other practices you can use to get rid of them. So I'll do some digging into that. That's a good question. That's a good question. I should do some digging into that so I can get an answer for you. Well, how if I do some research and maybe we can make that a talking point for next week. But I've not personally dealt with gophers in my lawn. Moles, eliminate their food source, reduce watering, use traps, baits. The Judge, the mole snap action 5000, highly recommend it. This is the one that actually got rid of Marquise. So that works well. But there's likely something similar for gophers, I would imagine, as well too, Jonathan. I just don't have any direct experience with getting rid of gophers to be able to tell you do this, do that. Moles, yes. Gophers, no. And I hope and pray that I never get that experience. It's one I'd just rather not have. You know what I mean? Kind of like getting kicked in your kneecap. Want something you just want to avoid? Having gophers in your lawn, same kind of thing. All right, next up is Colin. He says, I will definitely send updated photos once I get the new roller on. I am definitely guilty of doing car photos like you mentioned, hence why I sent those motor pics that way. Well, here's the thing, Colin. You don't need to explain it to me. I think it's criminal to send only one angle of a mower or of a car when you're taking pictures of it. You definitely want to do multiple angles. You gotta have folks be able to appreciate it, see all the angles and have them appreciate the awesomeness of your new equipment. So I get it, man. I get it. Vahid Navi says, hey, Ron, I just want to know what kind of silica I can use on my lawn. I'm not sure what you mean, Vahid. So as far as like a silica product that is like standalone, that's a great question. I don't know the answer to that. Essential G has silica added to it. But as far as like a standalone silica product, I'm not, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I'm not, and I haven't seen, I've not seen any of those either. I can do some digging for you, but if you want to add silica to your soil profile, then the way I would do it is to use Essential G. So if you go to shop and then Miramichi Green, and granted, it's not just a standalone silica product, but it has silica in it. So Essential G, if you look at the formulation for the analysis, you got compost, reclaimed coffee grounds, biochar, humate, and silicon. So it's got, think of it as like Carbon Pro G or other similar products like the newer version of that. So, and again, it's got some silica in there along with a bunch of other good stuff for your soil. So this is what I would use if you're looking for a way of improving the organic material in your soil while also adding these other nutrients. That is the way that I would go. So you can find that, Vahid, under the Miramichi Green section on the Golf Course Lawn Store. But if you're interested, I'll also send you a link here of where you can pick it up to make it easy for you, because I know you don't have to go and like type in the URL and go search around and find it. Now you can just go right there. Saves you time. Saves you time. All right. Next up, we got Brian. Let's see here. Brian Tanner is up next. He says, my soil test recommends using the 1212, which is what I've been using from Yard Mastery. Would you recommend switching over to the Lebanon Complete 14-7-14? Thanks, since all the NPKs are trending up to optimal. It's really your call, Brian. Either of those products, as far as like addressing deficiencies in your macros, either of them will work. I'm a fan, between the two, if you're asking which one I would use the Lebanon 14-7-14. Reason being is that in addition to having nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, you also get some humic acid. You also get some kelp in it as well. And I like this. I'm a big fan of the smaller prill that is used in the Lebanon turf fertilizers. You apply them, they just literally disappear. They get down in the soil better. They're going to begin working faster. So for that reason, of the two, while both are great products, you could use either one of them. I would lean towards the 14.7-14 if it were me. So hope that helps. Either one of those will do the trick. And let me see here. Make a note of that. And I'm not sure what you're asking, Moondoggy. Next up is Mark Romano. He says, "I'm competitive." Haha. Yeah, of course you are, man. Everyone in here is competitive. They don't want to. They don't want to say that because you're being competitive is like a bad thing. You don't want to be competitive. Come on, man. Like winning is fun. It rocks. It's awesome. Like speaking of which, I mean, it has nothing to do with turf grass, but you guys last week, you guys know that I was playing for the finals in my fantasy football league. The Region 21, like Region 21 is the region of the martial arts style that I practice, Tang Soo Do, so which is Florida and Georgia, and we have like a fantasy football league between some studios or some people that are in Florida, some folks that are in Georgia, and yours truly, this man right here, is the fantasy football league champ of 2023. So yeah, so I won, got the W. Can't ever take it away from me. It's like a Super Bowl ring. Can't ever take it away from me. Right, because there's a trophy that goes, whoever won it, like the guy that has it right now, we have a trophy that your name gets engraved on it, and then it gets presented in April, because in April is when we have our tournament. So what'll happen, I'm not going to get the trophy until April timeframe, but when I get it, I'll show it to you guys. I have my name on there, and yours truly is the football champ for 2023. And you know what the thing with fantasy football is, even though folks like to say, I mean, there is skill involved in, like, you got to put a lineup in, you have to know who's getting hurt and like who's going to be taking up the slack for them, but there's still a bit of luck involved in fantasy football, because literally I thought on that Sunday there were no Monday games, so pretty much all the games took place like by the end of Sunday you knew who the winner was going to be. And the 1:00 games, like the first set of games, I was like 18. No, it's not true. I was 11% projected to win. So like he was like, he was gonna stomp me. He's like 89% projected to win, and I was like 11% projected to win. And then I only had two more players. I had Pacheco and Mixon, maybe. I forget who it was. I think it was Mixon. Yeah, because it was the Bengals. Yeah, so Mixon. So only had two players left, and he had like 5 players. So I had 2 players left. He had 5 players left to play, which was the next set of games. Pacheco goes bananas and does puts up like 30 points. Mixon has a decent game, but then on his side, like a couple players got injured. They didn't play. I forget some of the guys he had. He had like Higgins. He had a couple of people that either they were out of the game for part of the time. So by all rights, he should have won. But it's just, you just never know. Like, there's a lot of luck in winning this. So for anyone that says, "Oh, I can, I'm superior and I definitely won this and there's no way that I could have lost this," it's really not true. You do your best, but there's still a segment of luck to winning in fantasy football. So I'm going to say that. I mean, I'm happy I won. I got it done. I got that, the elephant off my back. I got the W. But I am not going to say that it's not, that the fantasy football gods didn't shine on me a little bit. So to help that happen. So I must be living right. Because there's no reason why I should have won that, given where I was, after the first set of games. Anyway, back to turf grass. Jason Romano is up next. He says, "If I hear a mower, 100% I must know who's mowing. My heart rate goes up and I immediately want to be mowing as well." It is true, right? Because I mean, you kind of feel like, and it's childish, but it's really not, right? I mean, it's you mowed, let's say yesterday or maybe the day before, and you hear your neighbor they're out there mowing. You're thinking, man, they're kind of exerting domination by out there mowing, and then I'm not out there mowing. And you have to kind of get out there and show that my resolve is just as much as your resolve. And the thing is, what I tend to do is, for the first few minutes when out there mowing, and if I go out after them, like, I don't even make eye contact. Like, I start to mow up, I go out there and I act like I'm mowing. I'm like, oh, yeah, hey man, what's going on? And you kind of give the the what's up nod, but like kind of like I see you, the kind of like I see you nod. You kind of like you go making your pass, you see him, you kind of like oh. You go back to going making your stripes, but you can't make eye contact right away, because then it seems like you're doing it in response to them. You gotta kind of mow for a little while and then make that eye contact and give them a respectful nod, but also like, I see what you're doing, and I'm not gonna let it happen that easily. You see what I'm saying? You guys know. I mean, it's hard to explain it, but I'm sure a lot of these folks around here know exactly what I'm talking about. The nod, the you better recognize, you better put some respect on my name nod, that kind of nod when you're out there mowing. Okay, next is Robert Rainey. He says, the only people that get to see my yard is you all and airlines flying over. Doesn't stop you though. That is true because you are fully fenced in. That's a good point. But it's still, and when you have company over, you can show them, they get to see your lawn too. But you're right, it's not people driving by don't get to see it. That's a good point. So from a standpoint of being competitive, yeah. So I mean, so that shows that you're even. It really shows you're a serious lawn nerd because you're doing it just for the love of doing it because no one else other than you, your family and company that comes by are seeing your lawn. But we appreciate it. I gotta tell you, we salute you. We appreciate all the hard work. Lawn looks awesome. I mean, of the lawns I've gotten pictures of over the fall and winter months up to this point, yours, in my opinion, by far is the best. So keep it up, man. Next up is Mark Romano. It says, I told my tenant $5 to roll around and $25 for a picnic. That's kind of steep, man, isn't it? I think that's I mean, I guess, but I mean, you are in Hawaii, so you have kind of a captive audience, and if if you're the only place they can get that kind of turf, then I guess you can charge what you can charge, right? So there is that. All right, so let's see what else we got here. Archie Amos says, I won something last week. I think you did, Archie. I think when we were doing the giveaway, and you know how the rules are, you have to be present to win. I believe it was for a soil test, I think. I'm not sure exactly. You have to go back and watch the video, the live stream, and see. But I think your name, you were in the drawing, and then we waited for like 5-10 minutes. We're like, Archie, are you here? And I guess you weren't here, so we had to go on to someone else. But it was either a soil test or a T-shirt. It wasn't I don't think it was a carbon kit. I don't think so. Because we did 2 carbon kits too, and I don't think you got either of those. I think it was either a T-shirt or the soil test kit. I forget which one. But yes, you did. But LG, I have to tell you, Archie, people were a bit sad whenever, like when you'd won and you weren't here, people were like, oh man, it's too bad he's not here. Archie's a good guy, too bad he's not here. When LG won and he wasn't here, the amount of like Schadenfreude going on, like the amount of people taking pleasure in the pain of knowing that while I didn't win, the fact that he didn't win and it means more to him than it does to me, I'll just tell you, it was, a lot of those folks need to go to church because there's something wrong with them. The way they were behaving and carrying on, it's kind of like fantasy football takes you to a dark place. Lawn care giveaways also kind of bring that out in folks as well too. I was a bit disappointed by the behavior, by the antics. You can rewatch it. You can see. I tell you, these guys and gals, they were like, oh yeah, he ain't here. Oh, this is gonna be awesome. Next week's gonna be epic, and on and on and on and on. It was something else. All right. Next up, we have Tillman. Moondoggy says, my Tiff Tuff is still green in SoCal. Nice, Moondoggy. Very nice. Cool. Good stuff. Tillman Waters is up next. He says, I did a granular pre-emergent in December. Now I want to spray Century. I think he means maybe Certainty. A granular pre-emergent in December. Now I want to spray Certainty when the wind and weather permit. Sure, that works, Tillman. I mean, if you're going to be using Certainty to control poannu, if you have some poannu in your lawn, the big thing, like I said earlier in the live stream, is just make sure you're using the right rate. You know what I mean? The rates that you see in the video that I have on the Golf Course Lawn Store, assume those rates are correct for like Kalinga and sedges, which is quite a bit lower than the rate you need to use for poannua. As long as you're using the correct rate, which is between 1.25 ounces per acre up to 2 ounces per acre, and you're using surfactant with it, you get a good result. So I would, again, 1 large scoop and a couple small scoops with surfactant performs well for controlling poannua in this time of year. So that's something that I would say to look into. And yes, waiting for dry weather is a good idea, and for a non-windy day as well is also good too, because you don't want the stuff drifting into your neighbor's lawn. You want to keep it where you are trying to target. All right, James Kelly is up next. Says, hopefully soon. Need to get Ron some dates, but I'll definitely be back on the live stream if Ron will have me. Yes, absolutely. You have an open invitation. Whenever you want to come on, definitely, you're welcome. And Robert Rainey, all in good fun. Yeah, it is. Here's the thing, guys. I mean, seeing you giants of turf grass, go at it, or just like work on making your lawns awesome. It's inspiration for other folks too. I mean, here's the thing. I even chickened out on like overseeding my lawn this year, and then when Robert did it, I was like, man, that looks really, really good. So here's the thing, Robert. The thing that's left to be seen is when March timeframe rolls around and you got to spray out the ryegrass, we're going to need a blow by blow on that. We're going to need to know how that goes, how, what you experienced, the feelings you went through as you were trying to get the ryegrass to die off and the Bermuda grass to come in, because then that will complete the picture. That'll tie a nice bow on it. And for anyone that's on the fence of overseeding their Bermuda with rye, like you'll have like the masterwork of saying from soup to nuts, this is how I did it. These are my results. These are the gotchas you need to know, and you'll be good. You'll be all set. So yeah, I'm still waiting for like March's time frame when you decide to get rid of it to see how that works for you. And who knows? Maybe this fall. I said that last year too, right? Maybe this fall. We'll see. Okay, Elevated is up next. He says, hopefully everyone is having a great new year. Any upcoming sales on the Revolution mower? Not that I've heard. You'd have to ask the folks at Real Rollers. I don't know that they're doing any more sales. I don't. The only thing I've heard from Real Rollers that I can share is that there's going to be a turf park party, or there's plans to have a turf park party in the springtime at some point. Like that, I can tell you. But as far as like any kind of sales, no idea. You got to ask Lee or the folks at Real Rollers on that. I have nothing to do with pricing or delivery. I can't tell you. I can't tell you. But I honestly kind of doubt it, because for the what you're paying for the mower, it's a really, like, you're getting a lot of mower for what you're paying. Like you figure True Cuts now, by the time you put a roller on them, is almost, they're likely as much or more than what the Revolution costs. And you don't have the rear drum. You don't have, there's a lot of benefits to like the adjustability, the ease of backlapping. It's just a lot of thought went into that mower. So I think you guys, when you guys get it, you're really gonna like it. So for the price, I forget what the full price is, like $2,700 or $2,800, whatever it is. That's a good price for that piece of equipment. Look at what Outlet mowers cost these days. Like Outlet keeps raising the prices left and right, and they are very proud of their equipment. Compare that to, like the Revolution. It's I think it's a bargain for a gas powered wheel mower. It's really tough to do better than that at that price point. Okay, let's up Jacob Madrid. He was saying, Ron, I was outside throwing chicken on the grill when you're showing off the new swag. Please give us another peek. Yeah, sure. So it's not, I can show you what it actually looks like. Where's the, plug my thing here. So what it is so Miramichi Green knows that you guys like free stuff, the ravenous bunch that you are. So they hooked, let me go over here to this camera. They hooked me up with some Greatness from the Ground Up shirts in various sizes. Instagram, you guys can see. There you go. So what these basically are this shirt in various sizes, right? Miramichi Green Greatness from the Ground Up t-shirt. So I'll be giving those away on a giveaway in the future here at some point throughout the year. So you guys will be able to get some free swag, kind of cool stuff, and it'll be fun. Like free equipment or free t-shirts, free stuff is always fun, right? Especially stuff that you can't, well, I guess you can now buy those. They now have them for sale on their store if you really want one, but it's also more fun just to win it too, right? So there is that. So that's what it is, Jacob. We are going to do some giveaways this season like we do every year. The plan is to likely do one in the spring and one in the fall, but we'll see. Maybe we'll be able to pull off some more. It just depends on how many sponsors I can line up to kind of help with the prizes and whatnot. Okay, Devin says, hopefully soon, Andrew. I'm definitely guilty of that when I hear a mower fire up. It's just true, man. You gotta, because the thing is too, I also, and again, it sounds ugly, but it also depends on who it is too, right? Like if it's somebody that is, they're in like the avoiding a nasty gram from the house association, like if they're in that category, people that only mow their lawns every couple of weeks, I'll get out there and I'll check, like, oh, okay, it's just, it's lawn care service, so just mowing the people's, okay. No need to be worried. But if it's someone that actually represents legitimate competition, then you have to take this seriously. Like it's a huge mistake to underestimate your competition. Don't think that because, you've been ahead, your lawn has been looking good, that, if you decide to slack off, they can't catch you. They can catch you. So it depends on who it is. The seriousness of the response should be, commensurate with the threat. And I get it, Devin. That's definitely me as well too. I definitely look out when I hear a mower start up around here. So I'm worried like that. All right, Dan Lynch says, I thought I deleted that first question. Sorry, it's Bermuda, and your answer is perfect. Awesome, Dan. Glad to hear that I was helpful. And if you need anything else, don't hesitate to reach out. Appreciate you. And then Larry says, wait a minute. Should I be throwing my daily coffee grounds on my lawn? It won't hurt anything. It won't hurt to do that, Larry. I mean, it's the problem you're going to have with your daily coffee grounds is like evenly spreading it. There is that, but that's why they are put into they're in Essential G. So Essential G has reclaimed coffee grounds as a component because there are benefits to it. If you take a look at who else has been doing some great work. If you look at the YouTube channel from the folks at My Soil, like they have a YouTube channel called Soil Lab, and they test all kinds of cool stuff, right? They have they test biochar, like charged biochar, uncharged biochar, humic acid. I think they've also tested coffee grounds, like the effects of that. So if you want to see as far as like, hey, all I did is put reclaimed coffee grounds in my soil. What difference does that make to nutrient availability? Like they test that kind of stuff. Like they have a lab and the ability to do that kind of work in a way that produces results that actually mean something. You know what I mean? So if you really want to geek out on what effect does, insert this nutrient, what effect does like compost have on my soil? What effect does biochar have on my soil? What effect does humic acid or coffee grounds have on my soil? Check out the My Soil's channel. It's called Soil Lab. So I can find it. I'm gonna find it for you really quick. Check out the Soil Lab YouTube channel, and they will because they do great work, and good set of guys that are running that. And I will see if I can find. Yeah, here we go. Soil Lab. Like, what is gypsum? Yeah. So here we go. So if you want to, I'll throw them some love. This is their channel. Worth a look. The nice thing is they take not that I coined this, they take the Ron Henry approach to making content. Like they don't make stuff super long or any longer than it needs to be. Like live streams are long. Like these are long, obviously, because they're live streams. But as far as like my regular long form content or shorts, like I tend to make stuff as short and condensed as possible because most people have a really short attention span, and I also want to be respectful of your time. And their content is very much the same way. They don't have a lot of fluff and stuff in it. It's just like what you need to know, get in, get out, get your knowledge, get learned, and move on, right? So check them out, subscribe to their channel, give them some love. They're a great resource to the community. They're the folks behind the awesome My Soil test kit. So they know what they're talking about when it comes to analyzing the effects of soil inputs. Okay, so next we have Mark Romano says it's the call of the while, a mower starting up. It's one way of looking at it. Colin says he says, Ron, is it a good idea to throw down starter fertilizer before laying new sod, or just be the starter fertilizer on top of the new sod once it's laid? Excellent question. So Colin, I'm a fan of doing the starter fertilizer prior to the sod going down. Here's why. If you think about it, fertilizer needs to get into the soil for the microbes to eat it, break it down, make it available to the plant, right? So it needs to get in the soil to work. So if you can have bare soil, and then sod, like it's better to put the fertilizer down and then put the sod down on top of that when you run your irrigation or you water it in, like you're fast tracking getting that nutrient into the soil versus putting the sod down on the bare soil and then putting fertilizer on top of it. Some of it could get caught up in the canopy depending on the kind of fertilizer you're using. If you're using like Humic Max or the other fertilizers like our starter fertilizer, the 14714, not going to really be much of a problem. But still, you think about it, you're literally having to get the prill past a plant. It's got to get past the canopy to get into the soil to begin working. So why not just shortcut that by doing soil, fertilizer, Essential G or carbonized PN, and then sod on top of that? So any of your soil inputs, I would do those prior to laying the sod down. That's how I would go about it. And hopefully that makes sense to you. It's for the same reason whenever people ask me, whenever I'm going to do top dressing, should I fertilize before I top dress or after I top dress? And I said, well, for the same reason, you would core aerate and then you would fertilize, if you're doing like a biostimulant like Essential G, you would do all of that prior to laying down a layer of sand and compost over the entire lawn because it needs to get in the soil to work. And if you think about it, after the soil is opened up from aeration, you've got all these voids, which are just perfect for getting that nutrient like into the soil profile where it needs to be able to do its work, right? So hopefully that makes sense to you. As far as the why behind my answer or how I'm answering your question, long short of it is I would create a sandwich: soil, like Essential G or carbonized PN, fertilizer, and then sod on top of it. That is how I would go about it, sir. Great question. Hopefully that's useful. Have any more, don't hesitate to reach out. Tom V is up next. He says, hey, Ron, curious if anyone uses a heavy roller at the start of the season to help smooth out the surface. Realize compaction might be an issue, but it could be easier than top dressing. I've done it one time, Tom. This is several years ago. Someone, they rented one. And it does, to your point, it does smooth out the lawn a bit, but I wasn't a fan of the compaction aspect of it. And another thing you have to keep in mind too, like the benefits of top dressing are not just from the fact that you get a smoother lawn. Like if you use a blend of sand and compost, the biggest benefit, in my opinion, is the drainage. Like the ability of the soil profile to be able to pull moisture away from the surface is like one of the biggest benefits that most people don't really consider when it comes to top dressing. And using a roller is not going to get you that. And in many ways, it's going to make it worse, right? Like as far as the soil being able to drain, it's going to drain worse if you run a roller over it and compact it versus, aerating and then top dressing. Like you're not only getting a smoother lawn, but you're also improving the soil profile. So for that reason, I would not substitute a heavy roller for top dressing. I wouldn't do that. It's a good question though. It's a good point, and it is easier. But I think from a longevity perspective, it's I wouldn't do that. I mean, golf courses roll greens, but that's a different goal, right? They're trying to make the playing surface smooth and hard, and that's a different goal that they're after. But even with the greens that they roll, they still core aerate and top dress them. You know what I mean? So they are different. While the results can be similar, they serve different purposes, in my opinion. I would not substitute like a roller I would not substitute like top dressing for rolling turf, and I wouldn't substitute rolling turf for top dressing. I don't think the two, they don't, like, one does not substitute is not a substitute for the other, if that makes sense. Do one or the other. But of them, I am not a fan of rolling like residential turf. I'm not a fan of doing that because you're creating compaction problems, and like, why not just top dress it? There's a lot of benefits to doing it outside of just a smoother lawn. Okay, next up, he says, BTBJ says, hey, Ron, what was the outcome of the poll you took last week on the answering the questions correctly for giveaways? Happy 2024. The results of the poll was 72% of you guys, and you can actually see it, I think, at the end of the show. 72% of you guys wanted the question. If the question was not answered correctly, then it should not count. So going forward, that's what we're going to do. Going forward, when I pose a question that you have to have in the comment to be entered, if you just comment, but your question, the answer is not correct, then, and again, there's going to be some leeway here. I'm not going to like ding you for like spelling. Like if the spelling is a little bit off, but I know that you were trying to answer the question, then that's going to be fine. But if you just say, hey, Ron, thanks for the live stream, and that's had nothing to do with what the question was going to be, then that will be disqualified. So going forward, that's how we're going to do it. The people have spoken. I took it to you guys, y'all. I did the poll, and you guys, for the most part, want it to be, if you don't answer, you're not entered. And the people that answered that way, the folks that answer that way are the folks that are the religious ones that watch the live stream, and they're like, you know what, we watch this. We watch it week after week. We answer the questions correctly. We don't want these Johnny or Jill come latelys to just come in here and just drop any kind of question in or comment in and take away our chance of winning, because we're putting the work in. We should be recognized for it. I get it. And you're absolutely right. So going forward, that's how it's going to be. If you don't answer correctly, you're not going to be entered. Fair enough. I think that's good. I think that's what you guys were trying to say in a nicer way than I just said it. So that's what we're going to do. If you don't answer correctly, you're not in. All right. Larry says, I'll start saving my grounds and let them dry out so I can use the hand spreader to distribute evenly. Cool. It's an option, Larry. Definitely. For sure. And then James Smith says, on the topic of testing, have you taken notes on your experience of what you put down and weather? Like, what was the average highs and lows for the week? No, I don't tend to track the temperatures around like fertilizer applications or that type of thing, James. I have not done that. I'm trying to think what would the benefit? Like what could I potentially glean from doing that? I don't know. I have to put some thought into it. I don't do it, and I'm not opposed to doing it. I'm trying to think of what the benefit of doing that would be. When I think about like temperatures and that kind of thing, that's really more around like pre-emergent application. You know what I mean? But not so much for like regular inputs like fertilizer and that kind of thing, because those types of things are more time-based than weather or temperature. Well, weather-based, I would say. You know what I mean? So, like in other words, in May, Like I'm going to put down my granular, I'm putting down humic max on the first, I'm going to put down the carbon kit on the first, and I'm going to be spraying it again on the 15th. Now, if it's raining on the 15th, like crazy, I'm not going to spray it that day, but I'll either spray it the day before or the day after. But the temperature in May is not going to be really relevant to me to whether or not I spray the carbon kit. Like it's going to happen. So if that makes sense. So I'll put some more thoughts on it. And James says, and no more 50-50 comments tonight. You mean about, well, yeah, we're not going to talk about it. I think we've already beat this to death as far as like Chick-fil-A lemonade. The 50-50 should not be a thing. Shouldn't be a thing. And let's see. Jeremy Espinosa says, anything new you're going to try this upcoming season? I'm going to play with lowering the height of cut a touch. And by a touch, I mean going from 0.75 to 5/8. So like from 0.75 to 0.625. I'm going to take it down just a little bit. I'll probably end up at like back at 0.75. I'm going to start out at like 5/8 just to change things up a bit. Jeremy. Outside of that, I wouldn't say try. I'm going to top dress this year, which is not really trying because I've done that before, right? But that's going to be something that I'm going to do this year that I didn't do last year. And yeah. And if something that I'm working on comes to fruition, like you guys will also see that as well too. But I wouldn't even necessarily try it out because the thing that I'm talking about, I've already been using it. I used it for part of the season last year for testing, and I like the results I got with it. So yeah. So it's not really trying it out. It's kind of already been proven to work. It's just not something that I can tell you guys about yet because you can't really get it yet. So there's no point in talking about it. All right, next up we have John Dawberry. He says, hey, Ron, what is the name of the company that was servicing your TrueCut mower on the south side of Atlanta? They're not on the south side. They are on the north side. It was the people that have serviced it are, there's only two people that ever worked on my TrueCut. There's been Atlanta Real Mower, which is Michael Hammonds, and I posted his information in the chat. I can post it again here really quick if you want. And then the other people that have worked on it are Keystone. I did not go there this year or last year. So Keystone in Duluth, they have done work on the TrueCut in the past. So I'll give you this information for Michael if you want, John. But he's not on the south side. He is up here. So you may have to find someone else. But there's other places too. There's like, I've heard about a place called Mower Medic. I think they do. I've heard good things about them. I've not personally had them work on any of my equipment, but I've heard good things about them as well. But here is Michael Hammond's phone number, Atlanta Real Mower. So that's his information. So reach out to him. I don't know if he's going to drive all the way to the south side, but yeah, I mean, look into him or look into some of the other names that I mentioned as well, as far as places to get your TrueCut worked on. All right, Kerry Guthrie is there. He says, I'm on Texas Gulf Coast with St. Augustine grass. Is it too early to apply biochar and humic acid? Thanks, Ron. No, it's not. I mean, if you're on the Gulf Coast, you're definitely somewhere where it doesn't freeze. And applying a product like Essential G, like this, there'd be no issue at all with applying that this time of year. Really, if you live in a part of the country where the ground doesn't freeze and you have mild winters like the Gulf Coast, then this is your jam. You can do this year round. As a matter of fact, I have been doing granular biostimulants year round since the summer of 2020. So yeah, if you're interested in getting that product where you can pick it up, Carrie, I'll send you a link here in the chat now. This is Essential G. And there you go. That is what I would apply if you're looking for a biochar product this time of year. All right, we're winding down. We got Don Summers. He says, hey, Ron, even though I did not win last week during the giveaway, the answers to my questions you gave for the 2023 season were priceless. I had one of the best looking lawns on my block because of you. Thanks a million. I really appreciate that, Don. Again, I gave you some guidance, but you did the work. So it's kind of team effort is what I would say, right? Guidance, yes. I think the advice is solid between the videos and live stream and stuff that you can find on the Golf Course Lawn Store. Then you put in the work consistently is really what paid off. So definitely a team effort. Glad to hear that your lawn's in a great spot. And the nice thing about this, Don, to kind of expand on this a little bit more, is now that you've gotten the lawn under control, weeds are under control, it's already in a good spot, and you kind of had the program figured out, you're starting from a better place for this season. So this year it should look even better. You know what I mean? Like when you take a lawn from like 0 to hero, typically that first season looks pretty good. I mean, looks awesome compared to where it was before, but the next season, if you continue to do the work, is when it really takes off. And then people in your neighborhood are like saying, what on earth did you do? Did you install new grass, or how does your lawn look like that? And you just be like, you can just say, I just mow it and fertilize it every now and then. You can just kind of give them the basic answer, right? Or you can be nice and point them to the golf course lawn store and to the guides and, share the love. You could do that, Don. But again, thanks. I'm glad that the content was useful. It really does mean a lot. So thanks for letting me know. Stephen Toast Thompson. Stephen Toast Thompson says, question on scalping, Ron. I plan to cut at 0.75 inches with the Revolution 26. Good height of cut choice. My rotary mowers only go down to 1 inch, so how should I get it lower? Cut as low as I can with the rotary and then scalp with Revolution 26 and then maintain? Sure, Stephen, that's a good strategy. Use your rotary mowers to do the bulk of the work, to do a lot of to get most of the debris out. And then when it comes to scalping, if you're going to use the Revolution 26 to get the height of cut down, here's what I would say. Do not take it down to the dirt. You have a brand new reel mower. There's no point in, like beating up that brand new reel and bed knife on a brand new mower. What I would say is this, is all you have to do is cut a little bit below the height of cut you're trying to maintain the lawn at. So if you can, set the mower up to cut at, say, 1/2 inch, that's going to be fine. You don't need to go any lower than that. Set it up to cut at 1/2 inch. It's going to be less work for you from a standpoint of how much debris you have to take out. And you might, if you're careful, you may not have to send the mower in for sharpening after you're done. So that would be my advice. If you're planning to maintain at 0.75 inches, take it down to 1/2 inch and then go from there. But then use the rotary initially to do the most of the heavy lifting. Okay? Great question. And congrats, man. Congrats on the new hardware. You haven't gotten it yet, but I'll also clap it up for you. Give you some dap. Congrats on the new equipment. You gotta like it. You gotta recognize, gotta put some respect on your name for that. Mr. Stephen Toast Thompson. It's a cool name. All right. Look at the time. All right, good. All right, folks. We are we're going through this here. Let's see here. What is the question here? Taking a side pole, what height of grass for... He says, James Smith, taking a side pole, what height and grass type plans such as southeast, Bermuda, and mowing at 18 millimeter for 2024? I'm not sure what your question is. If mowing at 18 millimeter, if that's a good height, let me translate that. Let me translate like the rest of the world to American. So 18 millimeter to American speak to imperial. So 0.7 to 0. Yeah, that's a good height of cut. 0.70, 18 to 19 millimeters will work well, James. The rest of your question, I'm not sure what you're asking, but 0.75 inches for Bermuda is a good height of cut. That's a good one. It's a good choice. Devin says, I can't wait to incorporate Miramichi Green as a cornerstone of my agronomy program this season. Granulars and liquids. Really excited to see how the results turn out. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised, Devin. They make good products. And we were very fortunate because it took a lot of convincing years ago to say, hey, listen, guys, I know you guys are really focused on golf course and sports, turf fields, this kind of stuff, but we in the DIY space, we got good taste. I think we're just a bunch of folks with real mowers and trying to act like we want to be like golf course superintendents on our lawns. We got good taste. We know the good stuff. So if you will allow me to make this available to the DIY community, we're not going to let you down. So I think they're happy that they took the gamble on us. And again, you're going to enjoy the results you get with it. It's a great product. I wouldn't use this stuff on my lawn if I didn't believe in it. I can use pretty much anything I want on my lawn. I would not use the Miramichi Green products if I didn't think they were as good as I tell you guys they are. They're really good stuff. All right, next up is Jason Sewell. He says, Don, I agree. Ron, thanks for having the yard that everyone talks about. That's what you're after, man. Envy of the neighborhood, right? That's the goal. It's the goal for each of you guys. Envy of the neighborhood, envy of your street. That's what we're after. That's what we try and do. And then James Smith has an option here. He says you can outsource the scalping. It's not that much to have it done and cleaned up. That's a good point, too. You could not do it yourself because it's not like scalping, there's not really a whole lot of science to it, right? It's like cut the lawn low and get rid of all the debris. So as long as whoever you hire to do it is doing those two things, you're getting rid of a lot of the material and they're taking it with them. They're not just cutting it and just throwing it all back in the lawn. Then there's no reason to not have someone else do it if you don't want to do it yourself, because it's a lot of work. Like I've got a video on scalping. I think I live streamed it one time. I've got a video on it I can share with you guys. It's not a small amount of work to scalp a lawn. It's fun, but it's not a small amount of work. But let's see if I can find it. I did a video years ago. Nope, I'm in shorts. I'm in the wrong place. That's why I didn't find it. Scalp. And show all. Let me see if I can find it. Yep, here we go. It was from, wow, time flies. It was from 2022. Not even last year. It was like almost 2 years ago. Time flies when you're having fun. So this video, if you want to see how much work you could be signing up for if you decide to scalp your lawn, this is a good one to watch. Now, granted, I have a bigger lawn than most of you guys, so just keep that in mind. So it might not be quite this bad, but just something to consider versus like hiring it out to someone else and having it be their problem. Lawn scalping video. There we go. Yep, it's posted. Good to go. All right. Asking the gang what their local grass type, plan, height of cut. Just an interesting discussion. That's a good one, Don. James, I'll tell you what. Let me screenshot that. I'll do that as a poll for next week because we're getting close to the end of the live stream, and that way we can post the poll. We can set up the poll and we can give it adequate time for a lot of people as they come in to be able to chime in on it. I like the idea. I will add that as for next week's live stream. We'll do that. And I'll have all the questions set up and everything so folks can chime in. I mean, it's going to be kind of tough because I'm going to have to give them. In the poll. Here's the challenge with that is that it's not interactive from the standpoint they can't like type in I'm going to be at this many millimeters. So I'll have to put in different heights of cut. So I'll think of like what some of the most common ones are. And we may have to do more than one poll, like one on just what height of cut are you planning to go with next year, and what kind of grass do you have? Maybe we'll do that. We'll do two separate polls: the one on the grass type, and then one on height of cut that you're aiming for the upcoming season. I think that's a good idea. Actually, let me make a note of that as well here. Height of cut and grass type poll. It's a good idea. Poll. All right, good stuff. And cool. And then Devin, I think, is our last comment of the evening. He says, that's what would really be cool to see. If it turns out it could be a chance in the future, I could use them on the course. Love using the lawn as a test plot and research. Nice. I think Miramichi would love to hear that. I mean, they sell to a lot of professional sports fields and golf courses. So I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. I'll just say that much. So do your testing, and I think you'll like what you get. Well, guys, gals, I believe that is our last comment of the evening. So cue the outro music. Well, I hope you guys got some value out of the show. At a minimum, hope you got some entertainment out of it. Again, we have products in stock. Essential G, our lawn fertilizers are in stock. The pinned comment is our blog post on choosing the fertilizer for this upcoming season. And now's a great time to stock up, guys. We tend to run out of things throughout the season as we get closer to the March-April timeframe. So if you're someone that already knows what you want, by all means, stock up so you're good to go for at least the initial part. You got your supplies. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all you guys taking the time out to come hang out with me here for the first live stream of the 2024 growing season, and it's only going to get better from here. So have an amazing, amazing week, and I'll see you guys next week. Take care.